Achigo the mama so on pass antimeye or nyas antibanquan, and what before Namano Kotia, former head of state. Achigo dum green another Danko Kufuado support the Senegal of Funina. Castle be game and no kind on Fanchemi. Demi Moya, where's that me baby do at them in the credit man can't chance as Rammy did. Ah, Papa, I'm a kind of credit as I did. If they had your mamma in my form. If they your mamma, far better than Wokufuado.
All right, Mate.
And then my your mamma, 1 year Wokufuado now. Osifa kwa no dana na nususu we tiba nyimukota
interchange ba kope Nanado Dankwa Akufo-Addo forward say the government of John Dramani Mahama Asenso ana wonum say one mo ba behwe na wonum didwumadi ama no aye kama but then the NDC government will program or more policies bebre. One of these programs are now or more the Big Push program. Now the Big Push program, now ladies and gentlemen, a program will be almost say Omobabe injected $10 billion into our infrastructure, into being education, being roads, being the energy sector. Omobabe injected an amount of $10 billion US, and a pushy infrastructure. Ama Ghana enso nkankro aye kama. Enumu anana womso mu disikani bi eba beye the swame interchange no na a connect womo call offenso e de kotechima a connect wona wo be si sofula e de akwa ebu akwa wona wo ko Cape Coast no ebitima connect ama accessing the road no aye very easy. Now in a conversation yankasi yura the roads minister. So in a conversation Anna the Rules Minister, Honorable Kwame Aboji, Eka say no fancy no sike ni hokra. Enti no road na one more eba bay and answer interchange no mobile bay e was swami. No, this time around a movie every 4th year at the about 2 tier.
The previous government awarded a project called the Swami Interchange. Yeah. It was a loan agreement, and because of our debt situation, the contractor can't draw down. Okay. And the contractor is struggling on the site. What we want to do is to work to complete a number of the levels. We are told that if we complete the first two levels, for now, it will address significantly the traffic situation, whilst we think of doing the rest in the future when we raise the money. So those who are asking, why are we not doing the 4, it's simply because we don't have the money, because currently, the contractor hasn't got any money at all to do anything. I think it's better to do something about it rather than waiting until we find the loan to do that. And then when you get to Sunyani, the previous NDC government attempted building.
Now, mind you, 40 no, I was so cry, a 2-tier interchange. And na Ghana for say, there be the people of Kumasi say there be 2-tier there. Now I say, what is one about from crowd? Anna the Ashanti caucus parliament. Of course, you say you Tafo Honorable Vincent. Or hobby, Sanso na Yura Asenso Boakye, a former rules minister, and also a hobby, together with some people in the parliament or more forming Ashanti caucus on almost in the press conference addressing the people of Ghana and of course the certain government. He said no, you can't secure funding that. So there is absolutely no way say a better say ama that swami interchange no yate so at the every 4th year. At the about 2 tier. We understand not just say wama and yoma aba from kra no ama the face of that entire project no wama no aba from yes and anaba temporary and a permanent solution to the people of Ashanti region and also more patronize that road on yes and some conquerors video no
want to deal with why Kumasi deserve better. Kumasi, as you all know, is Ghana's second largest city, serves as a strategic national transit hub, transportation modal hub, continues to experience rapid growth in population and vehicle ownership. Short-changing Kumasi on a project of this scale is technically indefensible, economically unwise, and politically unjust. In conclusion, we want to emphasize that the Swami Interchange project was conceived as a long-term solution, not a short-term compromise. The Ashanti Caucus of Parliament therefore calls on government to restore the original 4-tier design of the Swami Interchange project, reprioritize funding to complete the project as designed and planned, and engage transparently with Parliament and the people of Kumasi and Ashanti region in general on the way forward. Kumasi deserves infrastructure that reflects its national importance, not half solutions justified by selective constraints. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for your attention.
Now, after this particular press conference, and the Honorable Rose Minister, SRB, in another press conference, addressing this issue. Now, they're all coming and say, any two-tier interchange. Say, as I saw about three-tier interchange. And initially, I said two-tier interchange, a three-tier interchange. Now, more researcher, or my said three-tier interchange, for now. The people of Ashanti region, any or more patronize that particular route in address traffic situation for now. Na economy no say government it me raise additional funds biana na wonum ahwe ababe ye the rest of the project. Yen Samsung konkotie eno enfamra.
Zavi sime kan show. Zavi wasebra no su fi no ma obi su fi no kama unya problem. Bra na yin su fi ye o si adan for no sika no a.
Indeed, this modification offers better value for money to the people of Kumasi, and we must be commended, not chastised.
Now, after say back and forth in akosono, ana yenim abrantia bakwa omayemu, he's very popular. He's a friend to the certain government. He's a son, the unofficial son to the president. Ochrena internet and also social media and also Appiah Stadium. And some nana ekobano na enyenede into offer phone. The former Rose Minister, Honorable Asenso Boakye. Now, a friend no command na wonum edin na say ne ho adwiri no no say the Honorable Asenso Boakye etimenya kukudro or parliament and the colleagues are or more form the Ashanti caucus no etimi aka sa ensem no mo kan na about interchange na urban because munya mo time mo ntimi anye. This time around, obi so wo ye na mum fancy ni ho but opeso wo ye into wo te no so dey free 4 e dey about 2 and answer 3 ade na mon kam wanu ntum no wonye na the people of Ashanti region no mo a omo use road ni na no wonom ho ento wo eno ana Appiah Stadium ekoka say even ono an former president na Addo Akufo-Addo a wotena ba bia no wotonko na sebe ebusuafo mo fanche me na no esonsuo ni nyina oka eho asem yenko na yenkonkohwe asem a yewura Appiah Stadium efre Asenso Boakye oka e
wa ye de wa unu se de o ye ya ewunim edise ana me je say wo de wo so say wo tibi bi se makan na wo bi say wo ye dey e said the media me can be Asenso me fancho oh that be me when you say be a wo stop me fire make kamadua kire
Go ahead.
Make kamadua je bi say Asenso ya ye o ya ye ni amon ho amamu ne kure oh ya kwala Asenso o nya the right person as okay if there any that be more ya we say me ba be di watem ne kure man kan cha Asenso na me did papa say me be kan kure say be say di watem say o ya de joma ma ni my form if the joma ma fa better than Akufo-Addo no
all right mate
and then my joma ma 1 year Akufo-Addo na o sifa kwa no oda na no so so we ba nyim kota tell you the fact o ya ye ni amon Asenso am kan kire
Mate.
Me bo ma dua kire pa ma wa o ti o yembe hyew
Mate.
Asenso wo ya dia ma mu o da mbabu ya wo nya kwan fa camera so anim e be kika se joma ma ache idiot udwane
Abusafo eno na eda ho no obi beka say there is fire on the mountain. We na Ghana for say debi Appiah Stadium. We there okay kan wonsem Ghana for ye pewasem, NPP for pewasem, NDC for pewasem, the people of Ashanti region ye pewasem, but we there we ni atra we ni nton ensam na okay no wa nya de kra na eho ana Appiah Stadium exclusively otena say or address this issue what in chiremu de ntia o kan nsem no ene ho achew panyina or the Ghana for and also ana oitwagu yen konkohwemra
yeah from Appiah Stadium and Wednesday and no Asenso Boakye or former road minister Bantu MP abe fa camera sire ni maki kan sembi about president Mahama na ban se obom pe Asante man koso onu obe road minister Swami interchange, Swami Kori nyina Asenso Boakye abedwi one MPP aban abedwi egu. Oba ntimi anye. President Mahama ye Askwa to the kwa runabout. Osadi fi the kwa runabout to kopie anwan kwanta. and then MPP are buying the left and right in the Manco for a duty in Ashi. As a Boakye demand share, obey road with some more when to be a more santimai. I go in the neighbor president Mamma and some of the can mammy. And you before free on the phone so. Nanya said, so I'm a friend, no, I'm better make some of it come and as some of me king, maybe Cassa wet a chopper. Former President Nana Danko Kufa redeemed them. Now, as I saw some of the a year before some pa. Omo mom na ama santemai se krobia sante kotokwa hene MPP fo dwom se omo mom na ye omo dono kotokwa hene kona nanom ncha kogun se obrema ye enam se Asenso Boakye ne MPP abadwi mazi kwani nyina ma futu aye kwani ye de ye wure kwa kogun sakura ye de do atokro de na kopie brema eti president mama wo dwirin Ghana ne asantema ho odo sante hene no oba ba ya Asenso si etoaso 4 ana president mama ayi abusana toaso interchange so mienu awa to agu na idi president mama ye run about kura no anya any futuro na sante
abusana fa na sekese ema kwesi AI abusana me ni kwesi AI ho adanse kakra emfa show yakom wasam da but let me take time and explain them to you kwesi app bi abama Ghana
Taibu lasisi mesose jibre na hu manim ache enkomo ofie na mede ebrel amanebo amede nam ne eye miero die dikan ono abo Kennedy Kwame Akomprekwa Japan e de atodwa se amantem dunsia ne nyina no wo ba be set up factories e de ama Ghana fo empenin se aboa wansena onihwe no oposa ne nsem wo ye na adwe so be Ghana mampeni wa biebie nwuma no e ma Ghana mabuna nya biaye na se wa mele Ghana mampeni a de na ho ode beso no wo se opese wo ye na nimanimu ya na emabu no agu abontam ni adwuma na edoso de etoso mieso eno eye Dr. Laji Mahmoud Bomi enne oye MPP ye Frank Akurani no ete ho a woje enchia na empanifo bi ekopie ne naso a waje microphone an wo kan sem se enam se ne ye ba beko MPP primaries no enipa bi kwampo a na o mu free Asante Mantamu ano ebepe Asante Mantamu efree na ebusa de Dr. Baumia wo ya Asante ni enne wo ba kire manfo a o mu free Asante Mantamu no mo mu free a ensem wei afobri na ma na no pa wi anwumre me de ba be so mo se akwanso sem se hu manim acha a me krete kona me nko ba bia afe na me ba be soja no edi asuo mo so o mu free se ebia shaibula sisi no me no o mu atemu me be kajagum me twam ho aba me ba enkomo bebri ewo fie
but na sade na ete no na ye nipa enum na ye tie ye nipa enum ye nyina na obia so na nida Asante so enyesa na obia na nida Asante so ebi mu ka se o mu free Asante by force enyesa o mu free ho ebi mu se ye tete me ha enyesa members of parliament wo hona bibiana obiaka but na obia so nim se media me Asante ni Asante hene ne ba prekupe enyesa enti more seriously that's the ekono na ehuhu ye hu kakra but na ye nim se de ebeko Asante region no na ohwe obia ni edaso ye hwe se de ye be ye no chairman no
abra me fa nchia sonko ema ya hwefo ene ya tiefo mo ebre ne bre bia no mo nya ho ehwe no enchia sonko enkoma mo menchia ma de nyina papaya na menchia me maame Christian Japan ene honorable Kennedy Kwame Akomprekwa Japan menua ba Faustina ana afi so da akonta ana sister Fia Frimpoma of Canada ene ahwefo nyina no ebre ko me beje bre na mabomu nyina mudin na enkomo bebre ewofie ye ba be din komo aftermath of the new patriotic primaries na ekoye no meka se be na wotwe ene enakake na Dr. Laji Mahmoud Bawumia wono ana emerge as winner na me ba be din hu komo kakra e de achew na afese ensensem mi so a ene namu ana afese no anamo a honorable Ken wo tu no me ba abedi hu komo na yen free asam na ase honorable Kennedy Kwame Akomprekwa Japan ebra no obo ntoa kan che party delegates se wono wo ba no oba be bie nnwuma e ma Ghana fo enya adwuma ye wo se ewi ase nipa wani monyam ene wadwuma oye oba na oni adwuma ukunu emu o makra mpo no ani die se fata mo mfa ma na ye be ma kwa de bobo wo chance ne ye pia na tenten ti se de ato table so ento ne wo ba e the industries e de aba oba the factories aba e ma Ghana mabu enya bia ye Honorable Ken eton sa message we e ma ne to Ghana fo nyina tim ewi achi no na Ghana fo a na omukon endo politics omukon be do politics because of a certain Kende Japan a omo free say kwan your person or the Ghana efa no the way ye betimi agye ye ho ade free sabi ye say ye independent bastard a da so e depend on emnofo no chance mu ye kwato aba 31st of January 2026 no na MPP delegate sabi ebi mu adamo ne honhom eto mu ebi mu sabi subanpa eni omu say omo de omo mpe adwuma ya afebọ na emom no omo pe 1000 cedis 2500 sika omo tafre alewa iri twi omo techema so eno no wagina che kwa akoto aba en omo koto aba wie yem Ghana for so ama MPP delegate ati ase say eyo opposition no ma renew no eyo opposition no ma menka say o ma extend no so a vote against Kende Japan during the MPP primaries it's just like say you've just extended opposition na about 22 amunu wie no yenya nipa bia omo ba kire die nti a omo campaign ye edema Honorable Ken ema MPP for Kende Japan ho ye omahi for NDC for Kevin Taylor project Honorable Ken NDC for na project Honorable Ken said the MPP delegate beka so onyamo na mba yi candidate amaye ewi achenim na fidie we ye omusumie no na MPP delegate akwa akotom na the MP for Adansia Krofo kwa babonte de babetu ja say with Kende Japan no na eye den e de mo in 2028 but Dr. Baumia de eye cool chop 77 peduasa say a show 10 naira onkofa player wato apache emfa no konko face omo ana e de nam na Honorable Ken ne nsama no woka no enam say oyo obi a oye talk na du nti no Honorable Ken said ye na obetim de oman sikaye obetim de oman tumi aye no se saade no kwa amamu a wono no kan say se nyame ma ne nkwa ma ne di 70 years a obe bro factories na guo me no ka say Honorable Ken only the biggest coal store in Africa, the most advanced and sophisticated steel plant in West Africa is being owned by a Ghanaian person. That is Honorable Ken Kwame Akumpa Japan. We acquired 30,000 of land, 30,000 acres of land at Wadakru, and another 30,000 of land, another one so at Adidome, and our 156,000 acres of land and so Wajin and so I was Sige or Babe cherry tomato in the account. And now call Central Region or Czech so yeah, Babe see the largest pharmaceutical industry in West Africa. And no maku numa yem producing in West Africa, in Africa, no, yeah, Babe produce Ghana, yet being owned and also partnership by Honorable Ken Kwame Akumpa Japan. Now, Honorable Ken said, Oba Abe started with 16 factories across all the 16 regions. Mantem biabenya one factory. Na itima boa e de pushi Ghana mabuna omuni adwumaye ma dodora nya adwumaye. Na Honorable Ken factories Oba be bie no. Ede ana eka ede ache Ghana for, ede na eka ache youth for, ede na eka ache politician for. One, de eka ache Ghanaian youth re say, wo ye Ghanaian youth ani da so ba say, papa bi e fa ne Kende Japan ba be bie benwuma amonya biaye. Ade eka ache politicians ne ene say, one, all politicians are not the same. Politician bi wo ha wo se me paade we, se me saka meye we, ne nsakra kampo a wonye ba Kende Japan say, ne nsakra mpo anka no eya de obeye e de ama Ghanaian youth no and to okwa de obetima ye oye e de ama Ghana youth. Ana de e kan che Ghana for sem. Wo ye Ghana ni a nyagidie se Ghana no with a certain leader like Kende Japan ebeye and to da no abompa se Nyankopon ye pese Kende Japan be Ghana mampani e kwanya Kende Japan be faso be Ghana mampani ye nhwe ho de enima se Kende Japan ye Ghana mampani and to ye Ghana ni a ukoda bompa se Nyankopon ma Kende Japan be Ghana mampani e kwanya Kende Japan be faso be Ghana mampani ye nhwe ho se MPP na de ne bebo se hwan na de ne bebo se CPP se PNC se hwan yo but meme wo gide se Kende Japan still lead MPP and become Ghana's president na eniema pa MPP ba bia na ye timi de ban Kende Japan e de fa kese e de aba na mami ka che na adanko kufu ade se Nyankopon nhira no nyame ntua ne ka se na adwuma sitie sa kokura bone wo utifie na fa phone e fra appointee se me anto aba ma kende Japan anum kasa nye de o ka che wa point say kende Japan e be president ya won use appoint president Kufuor se kende Japan anum kasa nye da kende Japan man ne ohu ni Ghana e tanya kende Japan nya ni nyane eye say no odifa no wa Kufuor sa tam no na obusia for guy bi o che da akom asante bedi atuo mu ene wo namfufuo mu nyina say wo onye ni papa Honorable Ken Okan say manfo asore etia wa ono obe support na Honorable Ken etanya wo nya between Kufuor camp ene wo na Addo camp result na Addo wo na wiase sika enye bibia sika enye bia na Nyankopon ka obegu anim ase hwe president Kufuor hwe nim gwata de akotena fie hwe Ghana for are not even proud say if we had a certain former president efena Kufuor nyame ama Mahama wrongs our year no nyame ama an opportunity to come and rewrite it well who Kufuor who nya sa opportunity that now you will go down as the worst president Ghana has ever produced who Kufuor nko ana ultimate time o man sika more than 51 million Ghana cedis ekotu amena South Bay National Cathedral Kufuor wadwuma no who Kufuor nko ana Ashanti region to over 1.8 million man now be try 80s why nya she in Ashanti region wo yere Rebecca Kufuor kwampo na wono no anya president kwampo ebesi Becca Foundation conference yere be kan Kufuor should tell me adia Ashanti region be kan na ko tell fie say ana me anto make in Japan ya anto amano the open Fred Jonas and Fananti akokura bone na obi ehun so na ya akokura bone me say President Kufuor ade o de kende Japan ma say Nebukadnezar ene Kufuor Nebukadnezar ene Kufuor Nebukadnezar mu promo ene Kufuor na mane kende Japan nya ebi efre Kufuor esi our former president ye no wa pe esi ano ye no wa pe onya president ena mo nso me se na we nso hwe kese hwe de obeya Ghana obefa dollar from 4 cedis to 70 won oba wumia ene Mahama mo so wasana hwe de oye dollar de wasana dwanfuru no hwe de oye dollar ana odwan ya ote ase no wade ne baba wumia e ma dollar so 17 na me papa ke de Japan sa me tunufo na so obetie me mafutuo ebi ono omfa ma dwenche ebi omfa na meka cho Honorable Ken say factory say obebe MPP delegate ai na nim hancho ebe gina wo say opadwuma ya ka che ne say he chose D-Day money over jobs and Ghana for na omno trust wo Ken de Japan ye fa adwuma ne ma om aye mem shaibula sisi mafutu aye me akade mbe bat menye Ken de Japan on the other party no on the Ken de Japan do party ni chena party ni do no to be call to understand say ne mass school fees or about topic up e dey MPP e be wi a MPP for second de Japan e ni paboni ni ti factory say be bia dey ka pa ma me ko head ba ko na ma me mfa adwumayefo no because me hweb message Honorable Ken no de nam ene de na ba omia de nam abo oni dua nyame ne pra no na abo oni dua e fragbera Abu Shafa de yanko the topic of the day. Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Boamesia na ye poyempo one MPP Franka Kurani. Almost say nyina ye campaign man ye be campaign so amano. Amana baba we ne Ghana man paninu ejibrero. Na Dr. Baumia ye akọ campaign me ka kire mo say boni bia akọ so MPP mu bia no say abronye dike de Japan koka dike de Japan atem Baumia na fragbara ninti e na wode niema ekatakata nyam se meboa. Okọ ni krom eko use ni krom kasa e kan say stika aya danko oye rabbit oh ene ya anti ana kene Japan ne kasa ana koka mu edi atem no mo apo mu ni atem mu nyese ni ato aba na wie ana oye fragbera na Dr. Baumia nko ana 2023 onya 61% na 2026 onya 56% was 56 no eso che 61 no Dr. Baumia nko ana dollar sa ukọ fa no 1 cedi e de kọ 4 cedi sa wa bon Now for the 4 series and the cost 17 series there. Oh yeah, dear. Ano nam and a man for bar. I wo share 56% now. A switch 61 now region be a constituency be a to naba mame. Ano de nama. And a see a campaign. Did the one number and so no aboa no women organizers, mama chame nearby. Youth organizer no mama channel. And the on make chance I bet you the month of the year of 2026, you know, because we are disabled force channel. We are na almost na Sarah for na channel. We so NDC for so almost chess on my converse back channel. Tisana 2026 year. Na 2027 after no na agree so for so na mabuzum vie sa so na for the year 2028 na atako na so oba wen na wawen oba we so anu ware. And a group be ekwa chia omo. And Dr. Baumia say ono beji microphone akasa. E ho Dr. Baumia e ba be che say wo hwe the vote onyan na Ashanti region na ebo na adwene ntiase so. Na ye ba be kɔ no na emanfo bi say wo mo na omo ye Asante fom so Asante mantem ebi kwa because of elections no omba pre-free Ashanti region ebi kwa so e kire say na omo ti Ashanti region na say akutia ani niwura mame kan sem kyo omo na omo so free Ashanti region aduchum free Ashanti region the no say one free Ashanti region so yetiti Ashanti region no e kende Japan ana the oba pay ha free so e ban na champion o kan so free offense so ai nim so free kwa ana ondam ana o kan sansem no na the me pesa munya musua de an say Dr. Bomi on se sign ya to aba wie frag bed also can party bom no wonam and now casting insinuations against opponent adia with at this point here na Dr. Bomi onye politician obegu MPP say Dr. Bomi ye politician pa mo sorry a ana we yakwachi Bomi kende Japan ko ho kokan Jimmy phone ti say box iron we enene one nam ho welcome people into Dr. Baumia house. Koka timi didi kende Japan atem. Na kende Japan enko Baumia fie. Na koka we na me welcome no. Is it good? Sir Dr. Baumia so do MPP a one person come board so pe ba bi ntina. So that people are koka church o na so can have good heart to campaign for Dr. Baumia. Ana Dr. Baumia nam no sad no. Na o ma start idea bi. No man we ya Adam me can say me say top down approach no no ebia the purpose say am the buy no mo benya ebi some you end up doing something worse and the worst is yet to happen tie Dr. Baumia te ho ana chama wuntumi ne campaign man no chama wuntumi kwa cha Dr. Baumia say chairman national chairman Dr. Baumia has chosen who to me to lead the MPP national. And now call constituency regions now. Oba Ashanti regional group be a press conference. Omni Dr. Baumia and a call Nakana. Omni Dr. Baumia by a frabella. Until Dr. Baumia call for chairman Kokofu, former Bantuma chairman, former MPP member of parliament for Bantuma. Now Onumbra make by coalition, no winner as the Ashanti regional MPP chairman. Woman me fight against Coca. Now I want to sound this warning. I want to advise Dr. Baumia and the campaign and say, Coca in Ashanti region was an institution. Coca in Ashanti region is an institution. It is education ministry, works and housing, health, defense. When you touch it, you touch Ashanti region. Now, Dr. Baumia percent in numbers in 2028 and drop pa one kofa kokofuni so ombabe contest coca. Omusa chama would be brow brilliance and the third time or win. Okota money making machine. Bullion van be see park no so. Voice on the BT coca. Ne ato about you market press conference. Say mode chama kokofu. No kwa bantman esi ni say. Akwa moto abati ano ozo pe general secretary bi adi mo man nkwa mo kwa ka se ye de ne ba Ashanti region na meti asem ba bia me wira ho we ne se om se chairman Kokofu e ba betoa wuntumi ene pass wuntumi ne pa ba no ye na Ashanti mantem ene pa ba Chama untumi ne pa be no na Ashanti region. Say untumi be ma Ashanti region votes from 70% about 64% aya ne pa. Untumi nti Ashanti region MPP new office aya ne pa. Untumi at the Ashanti regional chairmanship office no atwitwi from the first time a sitting chairman of a political party in Ashanti region. Yeah, China boss Iroko, BNI, court. Where ya nepa? I am at Waso in Ashanti region. Now, national hold them. I will meet to me there. Now, Quaka now, Modo Mosaho Canon, and a person of Motia says. Now, Dr. Baumia, I didn't know what China soon. The boy in him so soon. Now, don't be Rora and internal elections so. And now, what the flag no? The party for share himself. Who bet man when near power in 2028. Adia Kufa the year 2007, 2018 na we binu. Minti me when ya juma. And I'm go two way. And now ukwa juma we be just south. Secretary so ye juma edema kende Japan. Entino yan konko tu nam se ewurade nyankopon. Kwatania okwa yi o se me kwa menchia. Ukwa no wonchia. Na obi ato be chia. Dia mu ye 2028. Dia mu ye 2028 yo. Na Dr. Baumia office omo buawa. Mo nya yodum. Na akwa 2028 se ba ko ye 38.2. Ubenya 28.2 na se MPP. Ye be mo aben MPP ho a. Uni MPP for ho. Busa de omo de adubu ahe. Na Addo no. Na Addo na. Wo ye wo se wo ifjun sabi onye nyame. Rollins mo kwa me fa o man so soja ban so o ka obi nka bi o mo jaga na okọ na nya wo democrat na etimi ka bi kire wo enti anamo Dr. Baumia tunu clearly chese ono on unity now on unity so you cannot win power without unity and ye etimi we support Ken we ye support Brian enti ye kwa mo candidates you go and give them candidate. By 2028, we will also give you a showdown. Abusha for me did the shy will assist a shut out from. Menoka say Honorable Ken only the biggest coal store in Africa, the most advanced and sophisticated steel plant in West Africa is being owned by a Ghanaian person. That is Honorable Ken Kwame Kumba Japan. We acquired 30,000 acres of land at Wadakru and another 30,000 of land. Another one so at Addo. And our 156,000 acres of land and so wajin and so was sige or babe cherry tomato in the account. And now call Central Region or check so yeah babe see the largest pharmaceutical industry in West Africa. And no maku numa yem producing in West Africa in Africa no yeah babe produce Ghana yet being owned and also partnership by Honorable Ken Kwame Akumpeko Japan. Now, Honorable Ken said, Oba Abe started with 16 factories across all the 16 regions. Mantem Biabenya, one factory. Now, Tima Boa Edia Pushi, Ghana, Mabuna, Omunia Jumayama, Dodona Jumaye. Who ye Ghana near, Najidia said Ghana, no, with a certain leader like in the Japan, a bay, and to that no Bompire saying Yanku point. Ye Persec in the Japan by Ghana Mampini, a Quanya in the Japan by Foster by Ghana Mampini and Shaw.
Independent na Obia so many da. Ashanti so, yes, sir. Na Obia ni da Ashanti so. Ebi mo ka say omufiri Ashanti by force. Yes, sir.
Dr. Baumia, yeah, kwa campaign, me catch him say, Bonnie be a cost for MPP Mubiano. Sa bronye dike de Japan, koka dike de Japan tem, Baumia. Na frag barra ninti, and our de niama e katakata, and Namosemeboa. Oko ni krom, eko use ni krom kasa e cancer. Steka ayadanko or rabbit. Now Dr. Baumia Kwana 2023 when you're 61%, not 2026 when you're 56% was say 56 no as such 61 Dr. Baumia Kwana dollar sa oko fano 1 city at the cost 4 cities our bon now for the 4 city at the cost 17 cities there oh yeah there ya to a bear black bear also can party boom one nam and now casting insinuations against opponents. Addo with at this point now Dr. Baumia on your politician obegu MPP. Say Dr. Baumia your politician pa. Mo sorry ana we akwachi Baumia Kende Japan ko kan Jimmy phone ti say box iron we ene one nam ho welcome people into Dr. Baumia house. Koka timi didi Kende Japan atem. Na Kende Japan enko Baumia fie. Na koka we na me welcome no. Say Dr. Baumia so do MPP. One person come aboard so pen ba bi ntina. say Chama Kokofu Baba Tua won't to me any pass won't win the Paban or Anna Santa Mantle and the Paban Chama won't win the Paban or Anna Santa.
Anyway, Uncle Z, you know, last week you were here and you expressed your opinion about what your opinion about the announcement by the majority leader that the Kotoka International Airport was going to be renamed and it was going to be given the name Accra International Airport. In principle, you said on this platform that you didn't have anything against that. The only issue you had was the reasons that was given. When Mama Yariga said that, look, the land is for the Accra people, it was for them, give it back to them and so on. You thought it was a bad reason, simpliciter. Now, subsequent to that, there have been all kinds of public commentary on this matter, and there's one that I found very interesting. I thought that I would just play for you to. Bright, if the video is ready, I want Uncle Sipra to watch this because there's some matters that borders on history, who Dr. Kwame Nkrumah was, what kind of leadership he offered this country. The 1960 Constitution, was that meant to make him a life president? Issues about PDA, the Preventive Detention Act, and so on and so forth, and all the other matters that have come up. So I want you to watch this video and then let me know what you think about it. Please, let's watch this video.
If you look at it critically, it's becoming very obvious that what all this is about settling political scores. It has nothing to do with renaming an airport. Really? It has everything to do with settling a major political part of our history, which is the sanctity and the 100% goodness of our first president and the illustrious Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. The point of the history is that since Nkrumah died, he has become much bigger than when he was alive. In the year 2000, the British Broadcasting Corporation, which did the survey, and in that survey, many of us as university students voted for Kwame Nkrumah because he was competing with Nelson Mandela, and Nelson Mandela was South African. And we didn't understand how the African story of the century can be told without the emasculation of colonialism and imperialism. And you can't attribute that to Mandela. The removal of colonialism, imperialism, and the fight against neocolonialism is certainly Nkrumah's fight. So we felt that it is actually unfair to compare Nelson Mandela to Kwame Nkrumah. We even thought that John Mensah Saba had done more than Nelson Mandela for Africa, but that's beside the point. So Nkrumah then ends up by the year 2001, 2002 as this ultimate political hero who has no blemish. Now, since 2017, at the outset of Akufo-Addo's government, he began to demonstrate a certain penchant for the history of Ghana. In his maiden independence speech, and this was the first time it happened on Independence Day, he almost gave a history lecture to the audience at the Independence Square, to the point where it was becoming very long. There has been some concerns then at that time about that, and I got personally involved because I attended a forum at the Socialist Forum to discuss these things on the celebration of 24th February, which is always the big day. 24th February is the day Nkrumah was overthrown. So this year, the overthrow of Nkrumah is going to be 60 years long. And it had always been planned by some of these actors that on the 60th anniversary of Nkrumah, let us restore Nkrumah's image 100% over Ghana. This Kotoka's name on an important edifice like the airport is the remaining last leg of the nemesis of Nkrumah that must be taken away, because they have been able to establish Nkrumah as the hero and the 100% hero since the BBC issue. Now, what we have been pointing out is that they started by arguing that Kotoka is a coup maker. Okay. And then that argument appears to be shifting. If you listen to Ambassador Kwesi Pratt, he was concerned that Mahama Yariga is turning this whole thing into a tribal matter. That what is Accra and what is all that? It's not about a tribal matter. It is about removing the image of some coup maker, as they say. Okay, you just talked about Arthur Kennedy, who then mentioned the coup maker thing relating to Rawlings. And then we also know about Franklin Kujo, who put up how Nkrumah's regime was murderous. What we would like Ghanaians to see, and at the end of the day, the government will make its decision. And then we will have to decide whether it's a political decision that we vote on the next time or whatever we do. But we have to, we cannot ignore history. We have to make obeisance to history. The history is that from 1960 up to the time Nkrumah was overthrown in 1966, he was a despot. He was not good for Ghana. He was terrible for Ghana. The 1960 constitution which Nkrumah put together, which I have in front of me, has Nkrumah's name buried in the constitution, Article 10.
Correct.
Where it is talking about Kwame Nkrumah as president of Ghana. So it's talking about Kwame Nkrumah as president of Ghana in that Article 10. There is also a bit more. It is in this same 1960 constitution that Nkrumah decided that there was an amendment to the 1960 constitution in 1964. And if you look at the amendment, it will interest you to know that the amendments that was provided in the 1964 amendment included the fact that Kwame Nkrumah was now able to dismiss judges. Yes. And also, yes, he was able to dismiss judges. And also, the national flag of Ghana was changed. He also banned all political parties in 1964. And people were imprisoned. Preventive Detention Act was created in 1958. You might not think of it as a bad law. It is only the usage that you can criticize. Because what happened is that Nkrumah had been attacked by a bomb. And it was becoming very scary between Nkrumah and the opposition. The violence was growing on the part of the opposition, I must say. And Nkrumah needed something that will allow the intelligence agencies to work. So that's why PDA was set up. So in fact, if you look at the usage of PDA, between 1958 when it was set up and about 1961, it was minimal. But from 1961 to 1964, the PDA was railroading everywhere and every home was afraid. This was the state of affairs in Ghana. Now, because we are not accustomed to our history that much, and all of us, many of us talking today, were not born in that time, we all don't know that, and we are railroaded into Nkrumah as something.
That's a situation where you could be arrested and put in custody without the intervention of a court.
Not just without the intervention of the courts, but on the basis that the Minister for Interior is thinking in his mind that you are preparing to do something wrong. This is a fundamental departure from the processes of the jurisprudence of the criminal court. It's just a fundamental and a wicked departure from it.
All right. Okay, so apparently you are the one behind the renaming of Kotoka International Airport, Socialist Forum. Are you still the General Secretary?
Yeah, I am, but tomorrow, I mean, this is the second time I'm watching this clip. And I can't help but to feel pity for Paul. You know, I really feel pity for Paul Addo. I mean, his total disregard of facts is shocking. I speak with Paul. As a matter of fact, Paul is actually my relative. He's married to my cousin. Okay. And I speak with Paul quite often. Paul knows, clearly, he knows. It is not that he doesn't know. Paul knows that I have never been an ambassador. And Paul knows that I will never accept an ambassadorial position. And yet, he keeps referring to me as Ambassador Kwesi Pratt. For a certain effect, I mean, this level of dishonesty, it's so shocking. And it runs through all of his presentations. You know, I mean, this one fact, Paul knows that I've not been an ambassador before. I am not an ambassador. I would never be an ambassador. And yet, he insists on calling me ambassador for some effect. This is pathetic. You know, this is really pathetic. But let's put that aside, you know. Paul, on this claim, makes the claim that if Oliver Vomau had lived in the Nkrumah era, he would have been consigned to a prison. I think that's most unfair to Oliver. Most unfair. That comparison is most unfair to Oliver. What has Oliver done? All he has done is to criticize government and to manifest his disagreement with government. This is not what happened at Nkrumah. How many children has Oliver killed with grenades. So to equate Oliver to those who killed innocent children at the stadium and some places and so on is most unfair to Oliver. You understand? But that is for Oliver to deal with. It's not for me to deal with. That equation is horrible, clearly unacceptable. Okay. Now, there's a guy who has written a very brilliant article, and I recommend it to everybody. His name is Echo Nelson. I told you about him this morning, explaining all of this. What is clear to me is that we need to emphasize the study of history, especially by our leaders and public commentators. Because Paul's presentation is an indication of the extent to which our understanding of history is warped and not based on facts. Okay. One, let's take the allegations he makes around the Preventive Detention Act. Okay. And he sees the Preventive Detention Act as an act of a tyrant, Nkrumah who does not believe in the rule of law and so on. Now, what is the reality? The reality is that today, there is no country in the world, and I emphasize that, which does not have Preventive Detention Act in one form or the other. So are we to say that today, all the governments in the world are headed by tyrants? If you take the United States of America, after 9/11, why? One of the laws which came into effect was the Patriots Act. You know that, and you, the two of you, should know that better. Yeah. What it does is that it allows for detention without charge and trial in situations of national emergency. The United Kingdom has the same law. Japan has the same law. China has the same law. Every country in the world has the same law. And these laws are the equivalent of the Preventive Detention Act, which was passed under Nkrumah. So you need to understand that very clearly. In any case, those who overthrew Nkrumah replaced the Preventive Detention Act with the Protective Custody Law, which in essence was the same as the Preventive Detention Act. Talk to the Nkrumah supporters, the ministers and so on, who were dumped into prison. Were they charged? Were they tried? No. Many of them, including pregnant women, were dumped into prison without charge and without trial, under the Protective Custody Law. So let's look at the essence of the law. And if you look at the essence of the law, it was the same. Now today, and happily you are here, we are in a democratic dispensation. All of us agree. It has its defects as well. We are in a democratic dispensation. Take the 1992 Constitution. There are provisions in the 1992 Constitution dealing with national emergencies and the declaration of war. When those situations arise, the president will confer on the president emergency powers, which enables the president to order arrest and detention without charge or trial because of the national emergency. Indeed, under Mr. Rawlings, I think it was in 1986 or thereabout, something very significant happened. The PNDC passed the Habeas Corpus Amendment Decree. The effect of the Habeas Corpus Amendment Decree was to make nonsense of the laws on habeas corpus. The law of habeas corpus simply says that if somebody is arrested and detained, you can go to court and the court can then order for the production of the person, the body of the person, and so on. Now, the Habeas Corpus Amendment Decree passed by Rawlings created a situation where all that the state had to do was to go to court and say that the person had been arrested and detained for national security reasons. Finish. Matter closed. This was under Jerry Rawlings in the 1980s and so on. Okay. Now, after 9/11, you know the number of people who were arrested around the world and dumped on the Guantanamo Bay prison in Cuba by the United States of America, without charge and without trial. Who was to argue that the U.S. was not under a state of emergency? Who made that argument? And who challenged the democratic credentials, the supposed democratic credentials of the United States of America? Did Paul and his cohorts challenge the democratic credentials of the United States of America? They did not. In any case, talking about the historical record, Nkrumah was in power for 9 years. And check this record. In the 9 years that Nkrumah was in power, where there were various attempts to kill him, to bomb him, there were killing of innocent citizens, including school children and so on. Do you know that only one person was executed? Check the record. And the person who was executed was Sergeant Ametewe, who had attempted to assassinate him at the Flagstaff House. All those who were caught for exploding bombs in stadium and so on, none of them was executed. This is the record of a tyrant, according to Paul Adumotri and his friends. The record of the tyrant Nkrumah is that those who tried to kill him, who bombed his house at the Balata market, tried to kill him and his mother, none of them was executed except for Sergeant Ametewe. And Sergeant Ametewe was actually convicted of the crime and sentenced to death by hanging by a competent court of jurisdiction. This is the record. In any case, the assassination attempts on Nkrumah, they began at a time when Ghana was a fully fledged multi-party democracy. So nobody can justify those assassination attempts on Nkrumah by reference to the 1960 Constitution. And so before 1960 Constitution, first of all, the first coup d'etat, which was planned by Awate, Aram Ponsa and co, occurred in 1958. 2 years before the 1960 Constitution. So what was the justification for that coup d'etat? The first attempt on Nkrumah, I guess, was in 1957 or 1958 at the Malata market. You know, opposite the Malata market, there used to be a brick house where Nkrumah used to live with his mother, Nyaniba. It was attacked with bombs. You understand? There is the Lucas House affair. Lucas House affair is very, if you study our history, you cannot ignore Lucas House. There was a celebration of Nkrumah's birthday, and young people, young pioneer members and so on had gone to celebrate. When they were leaving the celebration in a procession, opponents of Nkrumah dropped bombs amongst the children. They dropped bombs. Children who were celebrating Nkrumah's birthday. What crime had they committed? And the Accra Sports Stadium incident, where they dropped bombs on the Accra Sports Stadium, killing many school children, including Ya Asantua, who only died recently, who used to live at Dansuma Estate. I'm sure all of you know that story. You know, under these circumstances, were we expecting Nkrumah to call his opponents and present them with bouquets of flowers and kiss them on both cheeks? What is this? By the way, this reference to the one-party state, that Nkrumah created a one-party state and so on, I refer everybody to the testimony of Joe Appiah, who was an opponent of Nkrumah. Joe Appiah has written extensively about the declaration of the one-party state. I read it last night. Joe Appiah says that Nkrumah invited him to the Flagstaff House for a meeting, a 3-person meeting. The 3 people who were in that meeting were Kofi Baku, Nkrumah himself, and Joe Appiah. And Nkrumah discussed with him the need to establish a government of national unity. And that government of national unity was to be led by Joe Appiah himself and Nkrumah. And they were to bring on board that government elements of the UP. It was a government which was going to be created by the UP and the CPP together. This is the historical record. It's available. I can send it to you later. This is Joe Appiah's confession. Okay? And that, in the course of this discussion, Joe Appiah requested that the meeting should be enlarged. So eventually it moved from a 3-member meeting to a 7-member meeting. And that Nkrumah left for Moscow on an official assignment and continued communicating with him. It was during this period that the intelligence found evidence of an attempt to kill Nkrumah and to overthrow his government. Listen very carefully. This is 1959 to 60. So it was on the basis of the plot to kill Nkrumah when he was trying to bring the opposition into government so that they could govern Ghana together, that the one-party state was declared without the opposition. The original intention was to build a government of national unity which brought everybody together. Paul doesn't have that history. He hasn't read enough. And I would advise Paul to educate himself. To be abreast with all of these different, strands and so on, and stop talking like an ignorant, I want to be very careful with my words. I want to be very careful with my words. Complete ignorance. And he displays this ignorance with confidence, bravado, and so on. What else did he say? What else did he say? The coup. Who organized the coup? It is not true that the 1966 coup was organized by Kotoka. That's another falsehood. Now, Moro, listen to me very carefully. And I said that last week on this very platform. I had the privilege of interviewing one of the architects or one of the people who we know was involved in the 1966 coup. And I interviewed J.W.K. Halley. No, A.K. Deku. I interviewed A.K. Deku. I told the story last week. And if you listen to A.K. Deku, the hub of the conspiracy to overthrow Nkrumah in 1966, the hub, the Ghanaian hub, was led by a Major Kwashi, who was a military officer working at the 37 military hospital. In fact, it was in his house that the conspirators met. Halley, Deku, and many others were recruited to join the conspiracy. Okay? Indeed, that coup was organized. First of all, it was instigated, sponsored, and organized by the Central Intelligence Agency of the United States of America. And the evidence is there. It's in black and white. Just read it. Look, the Socialist Movement of Ghana has published a book titled The Great Deception, How the CIA Overthrew Nkrumah. That book has 2 components. One is the raw declassified documents of the CIA about how it organized the coup. This is the CIA itself talking about how it organized the coup. And then there is commentary by persons who know, like Mahoney and others. And so, if you read that book, you are left in no doubt about who organized the coup and why the coup was organized. In fact, the coup was not organized because Nkrumah had become a dictator and a tyrant and so on. It's false. You see, on September 21, 1960, I think, the British High Commissioner in Ghana then, he was called A.W. Snelling. A.W. Snelling sent a cable to his home office, urging his home office to speed up preparations for the coup d'etat, and he wrote in black and white that it was time to get rid of Nkrumah, and that if they didn't get rid of Nkrumah, British interest in Africa would suffer. That was the only reason for the coup. foreign intelligence agencies conspiring to overthrow a Ghanaian government because that Ghanaian government was committed to the protection of the national interest, because that Ghanaian government was loyal to the resolution of the 1945 Congress, Pan-African Congress in Manchester, which has called on Africa to struggle for national independence, to control its own resources and exploit its own resources for the benefit of its people, and to build continental union, a continental union guided by the principles of scientific socialism. This is what the West was afraid of. This is what the West didn't want. This is why they staged the 1966 coup, and they themselves have commented on it. Beyond this, Paul should find time to read John Stockwell. John Stockwell. John Stockwell was one of key CIA agents who eventually rebelled and has written his account of why and how Nkrumah was overthrown. Then there's Philip Agee. Stockwell, of course, died in exile and so on, but there's also Philip Agee, whose accounts are clear about how the coup was organized, who organized it, and so on. But beyond that, it's also the book. It's called, the title of the book is JFK, Ordeal in Africa. And that book was authored by Jack D. Mahoney. Jack D. Mahoney was the son of a former U.S. ambassador to Ghana. And he details how the Central Intelligence Agency of the U.S. subverted the Nkrumah government and prepared the grounds for the coup d'etat. So those of us who are opposed to the 1966 coup are not opposed to the 1966 coup only because it's a coup d'etat. We are opposed to the 1966 coup because it was a manifestation of a Western intelligence conspiracy against the independence project, against the national aspirations of African people. It was a subversion of Ghanaian sovereignty. It was intended to bring us to where we are today. It was intended to push us onto the path of the neoliberal order, to accept the dictates of the IMF and the World Bank, to devalue the national currency within 10 years by more than 22,000%, to put us on a path in which in 1983, 300,000 workers lost their jobs. This is why we are opposed to the 1966 coup. It is not for any fanciful reason and so on. In any case, Moro, Paul claims that it is the socialist movement of Ghana which is behind this move. Of course, the socialist movement of Ghana condemns the 1966 coup and everything else that arose out of the 1966 coup and so on. But that movement has not even issued one statement in its 30-year life calling for the change of the name Kotoka International Airport. Not one statement. I don't know where Paul is getting all this information from. You understand? And all of this emphasizes the need for Ghana as a country to place some emphasis on the teaching of history. Because if we don't, we are going to get leaders like this who don't know anything about our history, who on the basis of their own conjecture will make policy. And those policies will be disastrous because they have no basis in the science of history and the science of thinking. That is the problem. You understand? It's pathetic. Look, me, I am 2,000% for the change of the name. My reason for the change of the name is not because Kotoka staged a coup or that Kotoka is an ever or so. My reason for the name change, is that 1966 represented an affront to national sovereignty. Because 1966 was a direct subversion of the national interest, our national identity and so on. And we cannot honor the day in which a foreign power and its allies decided to overthrow a popularly elected government in Ghana. That is my point. And you see, for those who talk about repression and so on about Nkrumah, their knowledge of history is very weak. Look, me, as a child, I was a school-going child. I saw, with my own eyes, I was not told, I did not read it from books. I saw Boy Moses, an envoy of Nkrumah, put in a cage, in an iron cage, tied to a truck and driven around the streets of Accra. Those are the people who believed in democracy and human rights. They caught another human being, put him in a cage, iron cage, tied him to a truck, and drove him on the principal streets of Accra. They should stop wasting our time and wasting our years.
Samira Baumia, why Otsiwo, or won't say Jimmy or handle it to say cra. Amira, they know what they are doing. Samira Samebua, Uncle Busa Uche, Ghana na Damfuna, Emma Oni Uche, Tumiti, and Uncle Busano, Uncle Fre Uche, no Musa Uche say, then or no Samira Damfona, or introduce Uche could dino, Emma Oni Uche, Tumiti.
But be a Samuel could rule it. I just say Samira Baumia, the wife of Dr. Mahmoud Baumia, or Pempeni Fubi, Echo Kevin Taylor Fie. No more company chow. Bonnie be or the INB, the company chow because we are doors or in recent times was so jack as a yes, Samira Baumia Pumpum, I can say Nasam Kitwa, Nasamanoka say, video be a sign poppy up on social media. Kevin a cover detailer, and Sama Oka, FIA, Dr. Mahmoud Baumia, Yere Samira Baumia, Hono, Messi will be shocked. Or Chilemua, or say Samira Baumia, Edina downfall. Aquaco Mobi. Now, and near Mercy or Honomono. Nini na obeti e wo video wi na bia mu so no osai chei mensa bonsu ensema Kevin e ko be detail I can find ho no ene expose a wo ye no at the end of this particular video no obeti nini na ha Kevin e ko be detail asan be expose e ye osai chei mensa bonsu yire pa ke se nya sem ketwa oso osai chei mensa bonsu odi ba omia chini nyina e running mate na ope Enti no waba abonten ababete warning. Say it's not done anywhere. Obi a contest ye Dr. Mahmoud Baumia bia no. Onye na adwen say onya running mate bia ni. Bran champon Kennedy akompre ko Japan. Ene eye kwabere Japan omo ka ho nyina no. O se contest Baumia nko ade a know that running mate bia eni homa. Na Kevin e ko ba detail kan sem bia fa o say chei mensa bonsu eho. Ye hwe video yi emra.
TV so na mete. Mini adwuma foforo bia it is a word you say, Kevin Taylor Bejai, Emma, what be transfer they forget because we meet them the consistency at the set Abladikuma, but the set Opela Boakye still standing. Me ko baby because some engineer and church them and expose a comfort to some MPP. Mobesa be da Ghana for said the way MP NDC build Ghana be point to be Mobeji Ghana say no. I am not going to allow you fools, tribal bigots, and I'm how they see it. Yejum meko eyaba. But let's just go straight. I don't want to lose the momentum. This Oseche mensa bonsu aka sembi. When people for munim nyansa on. Moju so obi ejimi meboa. E den na Oseche mensa bonsu eka. Ose no running mate slot for you. It is not done anywhere. Oseche mensa bonsu say ono na yeba umia right hand man Oseche mensa bonsu ubusan say obedi eye MP e was swami for over 30 years no e dey na odema swami for because osi abronsan eye ebini dan akwawe onim nyansa now na asem oka nyina o say opese eto eye omo a omo call primaries omo de Bawumia ko contest e ne say ma obi anfa na ni nto se Bawumia be yi ni running mate because ono o say chairman sabonsu no pe tie o say chairman sabonsu say no running mate slot for anybody who contested Bawumia. And he wants to tell them, say, Sadian, yenyen baby, so when himself contested Bawumia, forget about running mate. So when him so who are Junior a bit to match my so we are capable of helping. Almost said no. I said, Chairman Sabos, or no help running mate, no. 80 Mamunya margin is a money per 5, no. Nana Odi Bawumia, echo back a canquas, as an amogen with Jimmy. Yare a good one and natural a talent to Odidi Bawumiachi Eko Eba Namogens on Wejimi. The reason why Tano Odi Bawumiachi in say or Pesa Bawumia Fana as running mate or no Papa Krano or Beso Bedi Jokanichi as a running mate. Into a din can catch a Brian Champon, Wakache a country, Wakache a Dian a Cobre Japan, and Wakache Kennedy is a one to my dream. Nanamogen say Bawumiane did a Jia for or both defense a man home. Or say Chairman Sabonsu or Nwanga said a pet running mate na ye. Tie. Or say Chairman Sabonsu or say on Nwanga sa or say Chairman Sabonsu no or pet running mate. And Nintina Sabio or no papa penny toto to say no or Jay Jumanina or ya or Didi Bawumia wechi or him Sabawumia Ghana phone jinindi. Onisa Bawumia Santefon Trust no. Onisa Bawumia or a tribal. Onisa Bawumia or any pebia. On to mean cancer mundiso. Onisa Bawumia neire and a control no. But onimse a Santefono Sebio so mu nima. Omubet to me. Den ama MPP to me no ma pakwan bi so ku Bawumia to atwene. Na Santinia be di MPP enim. Enu ti no di Bawumia chi. Enti he is not following Bawumia because Bawumia ho fe. Ana ono Bawumia tani no onim nyansa chen no. Ana Bawumia we experience chen no. Odi Bawumia chi because or pesa Bawumia and running mate. Normally no kwasa antimemu, normally to me, omu yana ma poison ekuno. And that is what he's telling you people. Or say money pa numuno. Money pa naina money Bawumia echo contest no. Or catch them say, remember Obiampon down, you know, nobody should even think about it once. For a day, for even a month, that some of you or any of you guys will be called to be Bawumia's running mate. Or say it's done nowhere in the world. And then Papa Kokra Saka Sankwasi Asemno. It is because he wants to be running mate. It is because Mahamudu Bawumia only decisive person, only control. Neyere ayene draw. Why is a motonoto Bawumia? Why is a taba? Samira Bawumia. Why a Bawumia to say Bentiano Siwo? Or won't say o Jimmy or handle it to say Kura? It is a Chairman Sabonsu Bopia Omono. When was about Bawumia only on one you to take a decision. So they have connived with idea Beifono, Samira. They know what they are doing. Samira Samebua, Uncle Busa Uche, Ghana and Adamfuna, Emma Oni Uche, Tumiti, and Uncle Busano. They are bad when man and Quatraco Nyaso. Samira Samebua, Uncle Fred Uche, no Musa Uche say, then or no Samira Damfona or introduce Uche, Uche Codino, Emma Oni Uche, Tumiti. Samira, what Samira? Wallahi, you have no idea. Me, you have no idea. And you must start to started. Because with me, I just don't come after people. Intimacy. Samira. So I am telling you people, or say Chairman Sabonsuno, or no, or say Chairman Sabonsuno, or per vice president, or per running mate, into a 2 warning. And it's a Biabokono or to some a Bawumia fee. No, I say Jata, Oba no show him. Or say Chairman Sabonsuno, Omu Afenyo marketing free. You have no idea. Why na ye ku eyi o say Chairman Sabonsu free anya afenyo marking and Ekufuado efre ne ka che de say omu pe obi obey dirty work to protect ono Ekufuado enti o say Chairman Sabonsu so or the parliamentary business a check or per president di or be so sabotage Ekufuado and Ekufuado catch afenyo marking say do everything possible and get rid of Osei Chairman Sabonsu. Now Osei Chairman Sabonsu, it is his time to take revenge. Into that change of afenyo marking, it is inevitable. A blow which is inevitably yours when earlier received can cause torrential hostilities. Chadia Ben will know agentem or say Chairman Sabonsu will take his revenge, and that revenge is to make sure afenyo marking is kicked out as the minority leader. What is the politics of Muhun Trasa? What do you mean? Mo MP before nkwaya na mudi politics na chino. Mo jimi nti na mudi agro. This is how the plan worked. This is how it looks. Plan na mudi ato akire wo no. And I'm not going to lie to you. Game ni na wo hu ni sa no. Or say chairman supposed to time edu, he is going to take his revenge. The way Afenyomakin made sure or ye coup or say chairman Sabonsu as the majority leader no, or say chairman Sabonsu is going to cut him into pieces. Afenyomakin or Wayne. Afenyomakin no or Wayne. Afenyomakin osro say chairman Sabonsu. Odim said the order or say chairman Sabonsu no or say men Sabonsu. He is going to retaliate and he's going to do it. Obey you know. Because you see, or say chairman Sabonsu, or ye Afenyomakin, or ye Patricia PJ, or Claire, sa criminal macho man, his way is clear. Baumia Jimmy, Baumia cannot take decisions. They will tell Baumia who and who to put in the front. The moment or say chairman Sabonsu is able to get that done, he will handle Baumia. Someone in politics, or say chairman Sabonsu, bet in politics, obe cookie a strategy na mamo moto na na muni so mutumi nya foko me say o say chairman Sabonsu ne plan ekutano no the day na mu say o say chairman Sabonsu lead the Baumia campaign, it wasn't because of anything, no. It was because he wanted to take over parliament, MPP parliament. And he has never forgiven Afenyomakin. Because you see, Afenyomakin kodini hu konkonsa echire Kufuado. Afenyomakin went to tell them deals are not all cut or parliament. Afenyomakin Emma eye Ekufuado who say, or say Chairman Sabonsu was making millions in parliament without giving the president anything. So what Ekufuado muye and say, they used the same Afenyomakin to get rid of Osei Chairman Sabonsu. And later he got to know. He did not say anything because he knew say Ekufuado way or ya Tiasiewo or ya Banchi in less than 6 months they will get rid of him and or train Ekufuado a free power because don't him said there was no way the MPP was going to win and it not or stay back. He knew. Or free one or question Baumiechi, he had a plan. If he's able to use Baumia to win the primaries, he can instruct Baumia to change the Afenyomakin. That is why Afenyomakin's change inevitable. So MP before now my church we match them. Yedamu jina MPP yanko baby. Now let me say Chairman Sabonsu besides give me his picture. Let me show Ghanaians another diabolic man. Obabi Openo. Obabi Opeson da. Obabi Opeson da. Say Chairman Sabu. Obabi Openo. Ono so ne siashi. Obabi Openo. Sa kwa we. Obabi Openo. Ko parliament ko hwe. Okasa Brady Chambers utiati. Me see uni mo say Chairman Sabonsu chemi. Another criminal man. This guy. Obabi Openo. Obabia Openo. Kobusa parliament for man. Ubo humusio. No, I say, oh, leader, I want to come and discuss something with you. Oko person order. Sa not here. Obe bibia ma person order. O say Chairman Sabonsu akwawi. This is him. Another stubborn guy. Diabolic politician. Swamifo Jimmy. And Okajan say on pointed to one monumental thing or Yama Swamifo. Or Bega say, oh, ye bini dime or mo. Or no ko jina kan say, inti yesi toilet yabro inside muhu ya na. Na Swamifo di be a Jimmy to no mo budget so. Ye a bini dime way. Or the politics who say bem. Or strategically, or who say Swamifo and Tibrofo. And of course, a low brofubi. And you know, and Mr. Speaker, so I'm before 90% in Tibrofun to Minchro. Into Ojinan Kraya, not or the Swami for a business. Ojinan Kraya, not the Swami for a diga. Not the Swami for a estate akasie, not or the Todaya Kasie, not or the building the capacity, not Swami for Tim Foot Rodim. 8 years when Timian for Simian Swami for Kwaya Momo, Aquawi. I said Chairman Sabonsu, sexy guy, sexy tiny, pam. I got my butt up. Sexy man. Akwawi, we're taking hold of Baumia Shua, Ekutano. Mese Baumia Shua, Wokutem, or bet PP for Kafia, or per vice president, or per running mate. Now wait, or a very diabolic politician. Obey use the same Bawumia internal people to destroy Bawumia. It will implode. Ebe payogu Bawumia yem. Akwawi or a diabolic. And you see, Bawumia is not a smart politician. Bawumia or a pay as you go politician. The more you clap, the more it gingers him, and then he speaks anyhow. Sana Bawumia tiye. He cannot keep his composure. He is not able to compose himself to the point whereby when he even gets excited, he cannot calm himself. You see, his nerves, you know, it's say aquara nerves. What Bawumia hates, say, so then he gets out of his day, he gets into his zone. Papa, into Bawumia no, any extraordinary politician. Bawumia is not a communicator. Bawumia is not a politician. Bawumia by chance and about politics. Bawumia na also made the president, you know, by chance about politics. It is all steady Bawumia power. The way real politicians are able to compose themselves when they are in front of people, crowd, because every chair and a good chair in politics. And biana, excited. Some another sometimes it takes you to your grave. You as a politician, you should know when to understand a chairs, when to talk, when to relax, when to basically hit the point where the chairs will keep on. Bawumia, what he hates is say yay. Obama ni Jimmy na bete. E wala na papa shi na ba. Ni ko yonso no. The moment obewu yay na ko yonso na bete. Afi na okasa no yesi. No yesi. Edi Bawumia chi mamis. Say Bawumia ohusa man for budget so pena koyonso na ba koyonso na fi oye and one thing into
so after watching this particular video no you heard what Kevin Ekobedute la e kan here the fire or say che mensa bonsu ehun ana kese nya sem ketewa na o kire mu a oso say che mensa bonsu ohun say Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia ne yire e ne control no oso say che mensa bonsu ohun say Bawumia entimi mu o man entino or yeah everything possible send your baby Bawumia running mate na later no na kese wa ye Bawumia ne obey no we na firi no num aba abehye honom we ye Kevin Taylor na num asem enyeme en America according to Kevin Ekobedute Taylor no
pale asofo ni bin commission kakra obamo mabobo de mame enti uti mi anope ya ti Eugene compile by, you know, we are not going to play these videos to ridicule the men of God. But I'm going to play these videos to tell you, say, say, oh, a father. So for penny, I would tell Nasi, whether house of Mame or Yahweh, what's the Nasi, na only do spiritually. Na obompaye na ohunu bibia okachewa uti but anopay de memeka ene se wonsoso nyankopɔ tie wo mpaebo wonsoso asɔre ba no nyankopɔ etie wo mpaebo na wonsoso ka wo mu a nyankopɔ se ɔbɔ wo mu se ne seso no sa there are no superhuman beings. In the spiritual realm, I know there are levels. Ranks. But it doesn't cease your conversation or the kind of appeal you can make to God. Now so be tiwasem. And now so for bia odiem num so ono so ni part se wa. Into the thought that what the no ni instincts, ni emotions, ni interest, it is mixed with what they hear from God. Into just like someday I was saying, say you don't have to parasite loyalty. Say what the nipa way and I'm a dan, nipa way and I'm a jilid, nipa way and I'm a nenam ti or ya deal with ya now so sometimes you have to critically analyze or assess the situation before you jump into the bus with whoever you want to journey with. Enti me papa any prophet Vitok Sibuati 2024 or shall come for about amen.
Okay.
It does not cease him to be a prophet of God. Or that's why in Yankopon soft. Or that's why you be a or shall come. None in commission or shall a bem. No, that's one idea. And I still see him as a father.
Okay.
Sa na minimu say sorry ma omo call asofo omo sheshe nkom yi bi asori no sa na mun koso ehunu omo se omo ye mojanom omo ye masofo
sa pepe.
But the difference is abrebia no onso so etoda apply common sense
tiawa
activate the wisdom anyankopon dia mawo. And then you should also get to your knees and pray and ask God questions. Because if we are you will not know when somebody is doing what to serve his interest or to serve the interest of his or her followers.
No.
Or whatever he or she is doing, whether it is that from God and oil. Come on, pa. And na independent G ahunya die ehun bebrebe na nsen. And there is a very thin line. Senipa ebe trading integrity for treasures are obenya than to hold up to the credibility or the integrity. Na asofo ni baby fail that test. I have said a number of times, say in my journey in this industry, ade ba kwa de bia me bon hom pa ye say rade man mpare me say ebe nam me so na sofo bi aso de begu ana say ebe nam me so no bebu so bi bebu sofo bi animtia. And so I don't discuss men of God on my platform. But I can discuss their actions and inactions.
Yes.
They are two different things.
Yes.
I don't discuss them. But what they do and what they don't do, assembling beto dia obi abet ma chenadwene afa.
Yes.
I am saying this because I know a constituency officer who was through and through Baumia. But the very day or Prophet El Bernard and commission and penny for na ferry for obia ne kasai was it debi that about me abelus. And so he started working for Honorable Kennedy Japan. So if this person had sat down, prayed, analyzed what is happening, na sabi in prayer dia so me did not them or the adwene kakra to ho a bia and can take that decision that he took. And I want to believe there are a lot of people and more outsider, they were also swayed by the prophecies and echo around.
Obi otimi do chairmanship level mpu efa say ya.
Now the danger in it is obi is so attached to the software that the software can one here say amemu a na dwe be say obi na chinchim obi sa na adane into na amem
sasimu na me
say ni pa obi di tuo anase kan hye ne nsem
obeto
say onkoto ana ofa nkodi ewu because there was say si ni am na nsia obekọ akoye. That is why I'm saying say encomission dey ebeba. But sometimes sit down and ask yourself questions. Say, wait there. If you me and now say nipa no, we free the sofu sumu Edi nu pesu. And because and some na binum kan na no hye. Na no hye pa. And so even your two abanu kra wie no. Na azobi e hwedi besi. Nti tena o papa na yase tena o maame na yase obom paye omo akwanche ohunade no ka kire wa to wana mo da bia se me kana come she bia it comes with responsibility come she bia adwuma e wo ho to obeka ya I think a week or two to election make say and so asofu bia come she obehye se bebe mu a ye ne ekotoba ne bebe na bem
okay
they was see we be lusu no say yes so na de kire obi ase aba no nkoto a wa hye nkom de batemem indeed I was surprised people took prophecies nearby, you know, say and only the only means are a be move din kunima na so we be lose.
Mo fan wake up.
Na. Yeah di. O ma she omunkom yakoto ba na wie. Weda na nyame ene ka che no. Anase ono a ene be kai ono ni nyankopon asem. Ono ni nyankopon asem. I have watched a video. Yeah, Papa, Reverend Osubempa, once again, ought to be a man. Papa may need sa a one day no, any 2 minutes me no, ebe year no. But I have to correct near Okaino. Won to me multimedia e wo TV stations enum and e wo radio stations enum won to me TV e wo Kumase Movement TV e kan won to me multimedia no ho e wo Nkran Billionaires TV e kan won to me multimedia no ho e wo Sehwioso Western Diamond TV e kan won to me multimedia no ho e no so e chema won to media e wo Takrade Northern Gold TV e kan won to be multimedia no ho e watamale eno so e chema won to media papa se oti asem anase se wa kwampo na wote ho na wotie na uhuna if you want to address it bring some accuracy in your address because I say ye be to aba no e de onesofo Bernard a picture abeto TV so
nye bi da
and I say ono ene sofo Bernard akohye nkom etia Dr. Baumia and I tia the ntia mi yi ano no and yetia na yedidi natem Reverend Isaac Osuwempa. I remember in the run up to election 2024 movement TV for cars and be Emma Oka cars would to me TV ebo me din Ohereba edin ewum. Don't remember say on my show me the wumfoni and so for Bernard Abeto TV so.
See Dakra. David.
And at no point in time and I'm no able to meet you. Me fere kra.
Then you
yes I did.
Then you know you
na saa yeah ni bufu MPP fo a ni bufu Dr. Baumia or yes say on support tum no.
Hey.
Papa me many but I know say you have a lot of reasons why we hear the MPP.
Sanity.
And I'm I am yet to be convinced that a woman MPP for lose ye. And you might have done something, but me, I am yet to be convinced that a wo. And nobody under this sun can convince me say wo and I better MPP about power and as all now to MPP baby. Emma power be unyanyame.
There be nyame mkuto only God.
I respect you as a man of God.
This is quite a be I shop for some crowd. I am person be can be.
And same way I expect everybody to respect my father, Prophet Victor Kusibuatin, Reverend Isaac Uzubempa, Bishop Emmanuel Kwakutachi, any asofo akano. Sa na me expect say mesusu any afufu nya be respect o. But the NC no and come from matter.
Debi. Emodin wom.
Me fa wo funyi into ha.
Debi.
I don't remember say the last 1 year krama kan wasem.
Ntimi kura anyesa. Ah.
Na kampesa matra akodidi watem.
Debi.
Because the moment you mention want to meet TV na di wo funyi na to ano, mimi di no bi abebo.
Ah, ende.
I have not done that.
Say me di no bi abebo.
And as I wish I won't come so you are at liberty to prophesy.
Ah.
Na kopo ofro na me ni ho.
Debi.
Same way na o ka bi a che wo se be hye ho nkoma eno so mi na ho bi.
Sa na tie.
And I have not done that.
Debi.
So obi na frɛ wo ka kyerɛ wo a busane bio.
Video wo ho say we dey social media.
So once on out TV ho na wo nu ya sa ko hwɛ TV kro bio. It is not me.
Debi.
It is not want to be TV
cry. Debi.
Oh ja na akoye na anu asem ni.
And we take responsibility on whatever happens on all the 5 radio stations, all the 5 TV stations. But when you want to address an issue, address it accurately. Because once again, and you wo and I MP before our power, and then unni say to me no. Unye nyankopon.
Debi nyame nkuto.
Because na no wonder what can say your Mahama ne sa hwa emoja.
Don't betina Ghana kunwa so bi mu.
Don't be ni mampani bi. Wow be kan say na doye nti na koma pani am yehunu mobo. Se biribi mpontire Dr. Baumi nti bi ni mampani a there will be a day
nyame be hu
na mkopo hunu mobo.
Sa na tie.
Nti no. Ti na so re mana mo hweme no. Anaza mo beti aka achem no. Mon kanche papa osu bempa say enye wontumi TV.
TV debi. Enye sakrada.
Enye wontumi TV.
Headquarters.
Ni asem boni bia.
Ni asem. And I doubt to say any of our sister stations, you know, maybe you see there are 2 different things. Udi adie utu na mo bi no bi che na adwene for no wadwene enye pa. Eni ba be fa say di atem.
Sana tie o. Sana ya ba be.
Sana 2024 na run up to see a select running mate no. Obi a shewa e odi na poatem, and I also say me ni di atem. Asem ba meka madwene meche madwene afa ho. Edi papa, it might be say bia it could be Western Diamond, it could be Billionaires, it could be Movement, it could be Obia. But ebi mpoa eye de asi asem no mo bo di aka omuni di watam.
Debi. Sega benefit.
It is a home poa. Probably they are reporting on because I doubt is that Reverend Uzuma Papa Transi will want to meet you as a movement.
There they are. Mr. Boy Bokuro. Siko kachire. Bokuro. Share.
And as a member, see my employer. You were no on 24 hours. General manager, Wahanum, you were news editor, Yahoo, and near few, what industry more. I don't think they will be Jam Matana can't represent what is so far beside did not. It will cast our corner. It's an insult to the management of the radio station. Say, Omotiana, that is not it. Papa, in all humility, respectfully, I have not sat here to insult you. Me fa wo phone into TV so and obi aso ntra enye
debi
obi aya ko we nipa kro
sa na tie
ne address no accurately
eno so
no ade no aka de baby
aka zamba ko
I know you there.
Sir, on behalf of a form phone, say there's a form phone. Dr. Baumia.
Okay.
Sabri on man in Naho. Emfa mahunu running mate. On man in Naho.
Share
one. I can't last one.
In the last elections, you know, I personally feel that we made a lot of unnecessary noise in the run up to the selection of the running mates.
Okay.
And we have to be measured this time. ye to aba wi obi antumi nka say he or she got everything right ye ma bebribi na anko yi Saturday ye to aba wi no Saturday night and me hu say nkofo I started supposed to share flyers dodo na coming from Omua campaign yi me call Western region kakra me call Western North kakra Bono me call ho kakra I spent the day e Bono East Ashanti region Aja Samira ba na me di akiri
okay
Dr. Mahmoud ba me ba na me di akiri Omua me hu omu e wo campaign mu no omu no ma sha ase den ena chere they also are running mate Emma Dr. Baumia. When you do this na ma yina ya betiesim because ye kodon wa no bi enti afuo no adu se the harvest na won tumiri kan kotwa so aba enya obi a and same way you think you have an interest no obi aso obi munya papa no ma obi a fa unnecessary pressure bia enkono munya me minimum a omutra krumanum said Dr. Brenda Champion ayo mo papa ntumi nye campaign e ma Dr. Baumia
okay
elmomu a omuso omu ne nimi nyansa yina ntiaba na ye koto no
neutral
omu ye neutral omu gina mfimfini and I said it here so wa wo ye neutral da na ye koto aba no ye to aba no wi a koso ye neutral
and other crap party na se me
ye wo hwehwe ewo party mu bia no gina neutral sa na fako
ai neutral for no so be di woti sa
yes na omu a no muso be neutral omu ye nya atwem na okwa ha no bakari no ba no baka omu sene omu kwa omu so munya neutral omu kire ba bi omu obada ye nim so mu support Dr. Baumia omu kwa de omu kra ye
sa ba
omu kra ye ti ye to aba no ye motete WhatsApp platform so na masha ase na Dr. Wesu mu tedi ma ka chere me dinatem na Dr. Napo no change matopoku bebe no change you cannot decide for Dr. Baumia if you think you can decide for Baumia and any akoya campaign man no support no etra ase no pa wi anwumre no yeso so ya dwene be yes and we also start speaking or talking to the issues it munyai aseda kwa wonanwie and ma be sha ase man this unnecessary pressure
It's a catch our own GD sentence no the pop Gary Sokins no for me breakfast. Now, many message. Into many message no. Now you say a tweet from Eba Penny Sadiq Adams Post Obama. Now message in the buy no. Now say Eba Penny Sadiq Adams Post Obama aka control or Twitter say a manager of a hugely popular Ghanaian packaged food brand has been remanded in custody for allegedly attempting to traffic Ndubone out of Ghana. Narcotic Control Deputy Director no any Angel TV for Ekasaim say manager no of product brand we more person be name no but product in widely consumed our Ghana has him a conceal substances believed to be Ndubone the amount for HTB our products nimu amate so much no our airport hono nje dem kokko bisa abrewa me ko bisa ma abrewa say asem we na matim na me ye Gary Sokins kwa na me tse sa asem we amba benu me breakfast amebedi na me tse sa asem we na asem we no et say no se oba say narcotics ya oba sia okoye ba ye no na oba ma me brand ni na me say hey oh yeah sure no se o me to ebo ase na anything food brand no no cre se no confirm ye na enya ona no eno mache no na mom de esi ye ne se na obi di Ndubone ehye sa popular eduani a te se ye di wo Ghana he nso mo shepe bi de kwa abuchi na obi di Ndubone ehye bi mu ende enya de mo so ne kwa de mo twene so bi omo di hyemu na ya ne se ye di aduane a Ghana aduane ne ye de kɔ eye aduane amanfo nim amanfo ani gye ho na ye de kɔ ne ade na so sana Ndubone efrafra ene ye omo shepe de kwa abontin nti ende Saturday na omo che company ni wura no omo che no Saturday but omo release no enra to say ye Tuesday 10th of February 2026 no omo release aduane wura no omo release aduane wura no next Saturday no why investigation tin crofo we are in charge of packaging of shipping products na omo de call airport hono man sa na akwa abochi no omo kokko chichi omo nyina what I say omo kokko chichi omo nyina enti ona ne so de ahwe omo so akokko chi ne biom na mmom no in the meantime no enkrofo ma chichi omo nyina ye enkrofo a omo handle senior ye packaging na ye shipping sa particular induane ne de ko ona de omo di kai che no and now no Saturday no and omudi kan echi ona no a Ghana mramu no 48 hours and mrani ade no omo release no for the time being nemo mama omo kaka ho so no na wotwe omo simu na cortex for akwa church omo na kwa eba Penny Sadiq Adams sports Obama post nasia o se eba Penny e post ye say omo chi ni panda da oda so ho no mo any ade enye de omo twe no de omo hye so eka ho right okwa the post na say amafo echom awen ewo ho no okwa we say patiently waiting for bongo ideas to drop details. I mean, currently the issue is being investigated by NACOC 4, right? So you can't mention the brand name because if you mention the brand name now, it brings up a whole lot. Well, it brings up a whole lot. Of course, like I said, Saturday omuchi onano and the kaka hon omuguso aye investigation so much chibi. But the truth is that ampa omunya substances be ewo induane no emu a che say ehihim de omotwe ene de omose what I say eno munye nyaye ewo induane no mu a che so mo shepe di akwa amano ne eno mochi omo. Anyway, I say a lot of them are into this. Most big men you hear their names on the streets are into nasty business. They will be exposed one by one. It is we the youth that are suffering. They will come and tell you that they started their door-to-door business with Olonka of door-to-door. So you don't need capital to start business. Let me put allegedly over here. No, they about two one. We say if you fear to mention name, we say if you fear to mention name, I beg, don't post, we beg what. The Kokonsa committee ain't happy. I only think says Sadiq Adams Sports Obama, like myself, we are not mentioning the names because said investigations are still ongoing. Like I said, as for me, I wish I could mention the name, right? I wish I could mention the name, but I am in no position whatsoever to mention. But like I said, NACOC arrested the owner on Saturday no muchini pano. And Endra and under 48 hours. Once a weekend, no to me and grant bill, right? And under 48 hours. And I'm granting the bill. But Omo Kaka package, I don't know how much you're moving. We say, Grok, it be who? Now Grok no a gun obey you. Obey you. We say, this case, you guys will be shocked about the product. When I first found out, I was in disbelief. Then, meaning all this while I've been taking cocaine. No, it's not as if say it was infused in the product, right? Omo the Afra products, no. So what I say? Omo the Afra products, no. Oh, omo the Afra no more than shipping aircraft money. Inti aya ne say the aduane say and the aircraft money. So na endubone efrafa. So what I say? Ebi a packet 3 bia edubone ba ko a packet 3 bia edubone ba ko ha. And an akok for chair. I just say omo akoti onano. But how do we say, right? Omo trust will be say. We so better say if they fail to mention the person's name, then it means he would definitely be set free. He would have known the person's name if he or she had been arrested outside Ghana. That is true. That is true, right? That's as for that one there. It is very, very true. Say outside Ghana, nkawa say about boni pani bi ni that. What I say? I say about boni pani bi abo product no ache asem ni mu. Ghana kwa na say state agency be echi obi a omo tumi church asem ni mu just a bloggers na obaba to tell asem no ho kakra obo na asem be kwa wiye no then the actual fact of the matter no is not known. The actual fact of the matter is not known. But I mean, I'm sure say as time goes on we will get there. Where's no name bullshit news? Why even post it? Where's it? Is it the brand that I'm thinking about? Hey, I don't have good lawyers, so make I keep quiet. I mean, it has nothing to do with the lawyers, right? Because the substance, NACOC has confirmed, say, any cocaine. NACOC can confirm it, right? But it's up to NACOC to know, say, is it that the owner of the product, you know, aware? Is it that aware? And I say, well, that is the investigation NACOC for currently. And like I said, they arrested the owner earlier on Saturday. He has been released. They have arrested other people, and investigations are still ongoing. Wait, I'm not supposed to hear this news, Oba. I vividly remember Goodie's Music Power and the ex-super guy. I don't know who you're talking about. I beg you. Wait, if it were the manager of a Momo joint, his name, Kofi Ghana, would have been in the news by now. This even shows the issue won't reach anywhere. Concealing his name is even a serious crime, allegedly. Well, they can't give the name out because of the so-called name Big Man. Shaking my head. If it was a normal person like Abucheka, like he has been handcuffed, this won't go anywhere because we all don't know the person involved, so he can pay and be freed anytime. Don't worry. When I become a lawyer and this case hasn't gone anywhere, I'll revisit the case. So don't worry. Okay, for now I'm not a lawyer. So don't worry. We say I will always stand by assertions and intuitions. The riches they flaunt are not from the business they claim to do. They just wash the monies in the system, a step at a time. By their deeds, they will be known. No settings. In the end, the amount for us will be Kisa Grok or comment section. But with Maya, and they be an interesting question, right? Okay, post activity now. Would Maya say the brand got no name? Delete and post again. Of course, brand new name. Brand new name, right? Brand no our name. Let's see, this breaking news is bad for business. I don't know what business he's talking about. But then, hey, Ahai August is 24. I mean, like I said, may not prepare Gary Soakins. What you say? And just nearby, see, I cry ice water and I'm a dear Gary by this time. And I know. Which match I do a comment section? Gary, you go. No, Miss Van What's that Gary? Because I won't know. Yes, sir.
One of the major we are seen in this over here is to reconcile the party. Say, Kwambe never first saw. Omo and omo nene nyadwin omo ni nafa no ye betwe omo aba na bɛka ho na yɛ nyinaa yɛ adwuma in the spirit of that even koraa abɛsra no koraa no abɛbɔ n'aba so no meyɛ sure so bɛtu anamɔ akɔ so
ɛne kwan sɛ yɛn de hɔ
oh dabi yɛsɛ wei no ɛyɛ bibi ɔbɛtumi ayɛ breakfast wei koraa de ama ɔmo na ɛbɛkyerɛ no na ɔmo ayɛ but obi nso sɛ ɔnyɛ a wontumi nya no hwee yɛ na ɛbɛkyerɛ no but it should show that fatherly posture na yɛntumi anya nkɔ so but you see the account beyond sɛ election nso no issues are memu bebree so a wontumi nka sɛ mebuofu ebe o yase won we ni but yensisi o so na me nti ubuefu se de ene say is all delegates on akobo o so na me nti ba ni say de ba ya
ehun ba hia so mo the joint statement beba o mo pledge support
be ho hia so at least they o mo gina ho mo kasa mo bia tie so na me nti ehun ise da hia papa de o ma ye is enough say all start ayen in the campaign so they obetumi akomo na so ene bebre akọ obetumi decide say or a breakfast meeting with them which is also allowed you understand me ngini say yen or say yesuso so bebre sa eno ano ya yewi na yentumi enko yenim na omo I was say to me they can particularly supporters no. There are some few revelations in this campaign. Na I can even single out a bit. It's a Kwesi Kwarteng, for instance. Communicating at that level, no. I think that is I was a part, you know. Ankasa eshe. Se kwambe na ibe to me. I'm making use or benefit of him. Yeah, I think that he did extremely well under extreme conditions. So na and easy.
So our master, I was na say adwuma Ministry of Education. Na ukojina no atwe ho. Na still no utimi kan dey so okay.
Say utimi yes also because the master no but I think he did well. It's not easy. Over on the side of Baumianko Fonsa, this time Miracles also did good job. Now not the government issues and so frame. Oshopon Kroma, Samia Uku, Cabo. Jumomudi ya na chese koyi papa o share Ken side na gaiji money you know I think that these are people if you want there okay member people these are people the party itself must identify them
okay
na yensha baby wa me no ma akasa
okay
enya me campaign but I think that they are asset to our party. She'll be to say Solomon Osui. That's why baby or one in your manner. It's communicating very well. Oh, yeah, honor. They before when the modo.
Not to me,
today be out galam say no nigga kufado kunto kwadati. So I name my papa hold the modo crano. Yeah, I said that oh but look at how well he's doing. Somebody I will say
but now preferred candidate.
Me. Obviously, I is electoral commission. The TBA Obetuaba into our party or tomorrow. Then you had the to me. I cannot. Yes, I any.
But the
for me, they'll be saying answer Ben and Aka over 7 days. They'll be saying answer Ben. They're able to say 2 years on J. Abba. So they're able to say as on J. Abba. Because you see, not only because we person a contest for national chairman, Entina, I decided to stay back. But as former national general secretary, you know, who was Sudi, because one managing party, you know, managing party at that level, so you are expected to say problems by party, you must be part of one more on the Buana. Yes. Now also called join here. na fe asamba o ye den
okay ye
to me akabi nti hardly will you see the secretary at that level we can say we could do it chiba could do it ready tibia or the support no the tibia or the direction or to bu na ni kire nkofo o na me kire no eno de normal so na me kire do we be say why na me bu na ni kire no na but by and large it went well. The messages were quite okay.
Jobs on that to the
I know, dear, you see. Some of them are normal, you see. And then we must also understand, say, media no nyetiti media na GBC pen oho. Inti Dubai or your campaign or call such a dumas and the kind of
Daddy.
A Dubai campaign or call Tamale the kind of and then only panic on Cassan we over here now. You the video from Abrochra Bro say the whole kind. You understand? We should also appreciate where we are. And nothing ama na near money bino ase a bro subebre. Sebi. Baumia or contest election. Other four no so nene ya adwen ase ko contest no. Omo ne nya adwen ti no contest no. Nti omo contest na on kan de be Baumia de.
But it's a competition of ideas.
Competition of ideas. What do you call ideas? Obi ho no feel say.
Attempting the ideas no.
Wow, me attempt the dear person. Obi ho ha. O feel say. O ka ideas no kwa fa so bi en so o ka say ebi am we scam we say I no be bo no. I know they want to me o kwa TNT no na be chia. O no dey chia the opero o to me e kan.
Okay.
But at the end of the day no the na nyina ya hwehwe se ye beto aba ne be wie no na asonjwa aba no kre ne ya to wie resource no asa akwara afasikan a odidi agro so fanto ho wonte oso fanto santa uja na ono ana de beto
o prekro de beto
nti ya to ye obi a hu de onyae obi anso ambeka so obi esisi obi ana obi ye bibia nti asonjwa ye pe after the presidential winner yensa aka
chairman since 1992 we dey about to achieve presidential primaries me de mu aye hye to say we da me nemu de what the party ne achi yi pa se we send ya hu no na mu ahia e de ne massa wo so no bam
as to whether we nemu aye hye no relative.
Okay.
Others now who you know name eshi but there be a 2-horse race.
Okay.
Say omo ye major contenders ye mienu pe so nti omo mienu pe ho asem na ye ka o hwe 92 no there na nse da anya nipa mienu because na first time I ever to about obi ani mo bi strength. You understand? But do 96 between J. Kufuor and Edu Boy. So let me tell you, until 2-horse race, even though there were other contestants. No, do 98, no, and so 2-horse race. And no, Akufo Addo and J. Kufuor. Others come home there, baby munya lotto numbers, you know. The Uber 2007 the no so na a 2-horse race and no ya Akufo Addo and Alan at that time over 2010 so over 2014 so and also 2-horse race. This is the time the only time nyen nipa mienu pe and omumu ehye ewo election nipa miensa nti until say abobo ye to aba no bobo ye no obi ani ho no betumi aka with certainty say X the be winning and Y the be winning and V the be winning, even though we had polls here and there. Later ko obi so the polls for be bo mu na che say there so onya 20-something%, no 2%. Hey, na fe busa dan kwa on se onya challenge pa o se busa dan kwa say na say no or you polls or the bribe bitia ebe she post with your allowance for bribe
ya mamu no dia wa fa hwadwane
let just say ya do be failing o chira de bi obeka
right
so when yan the results are see you bribe So the bia na you be correct.
Oh me ye chairman, but why ya dia can sing be enu ya mana to makoma so say nkrofo a omo potential so so betimi aboa party na communicate well for the party no yentimi identify omo na ye ni omo nkasa no momra on board say na be ya tumi a party ni pe 2028 party ni sa betimi aka nyame nhira e wa adwena wo ma party no now ya to aba na wie na ensi ye polling station elections wo ho constituency wo ho national one wo ho baby adru no I say Dr. Elijah Mahmoud Bawumia ba out be ka say men support to A B C D because we say man for ginidi benante e bi de obi hwe ba bi ya Kennedy ahoden ko ye pa obetimi de Kennedy din akonante ba bi abrai onya ahoden pa obetimi de din akọ contest e wo ho akọ ka bibia ensem fata ebesan ama nchichemu aba party no den na ese party no ye den na ese candidate Dr. Elijah Mahmoud Bawumia wo ye
esisi asude abeto no so pa if you say obunani kra ebeka so obuani chi so na me kire no nti also yeah a bit more careful now signal be obeba bia no will be either interpreted rightly or wrongly but also who say nipa so na me kire no because you hoy so who say ne ho ni pe bi akobata obi hu pe beka say no you understand nti I think say so you be a bit careful obi bana or selection the one more between aye no eno na also beka eno na also tie yes we na se me be say we na because yes a police station for nyina beka say hey me na ba me na se me be contest you we na se me be contest you know no be on take that nti eno so no say yehwe because yeah I will see to me a blend a team bet to me not only say yeah put two team together but team kofwa omo nim dia bet to me a support party no need to strengthen party no near the aboa presidential candidate no now wait to me a win elections a bit difficult but I don't think so because the entire anchor for a kick against the presidential and first no a question I will be saying no feel say a koto near presidential candidates now no preferred candidates for the other elections and on also a mindful yeah
presidential primaries are a course you have a conduct of aspirants and candidates you know obi a why former general secretary now teaching now here net to say
me gidi say me catch you say emra enha bonini ho so na temra ohonso na yebuso na means of redress ya anya ntabso a emwa. What I saw that I think that I must first of all say the presidential election committee for no Oma boy Juma pa. Okay. Juma Oma boy no so any I think that they gave the candidates the opportunity to also air their views. Say bibi no montia and I think that it went off very, very well. And it's an excellent job normally. But what I saw missing, and I think that's some of the lessons that we need to learn about is that I was going to ad hoc disciplinary committee as part of their work. Now, for disciplinary issues arising out of the presidential, no, my party, no,
and paying for
and use the normal disciplinary procedure, no, because the normal disciplinary procedure sometimes it takes about 6 months. Meanwhile, the entire process is 6 months. Jobi koye bibi no bi ko cho petition o cho petition na o cho come general secretary o cho national executive committee through the general secretary I was general secretary train na national executive ehia no mutu determine whether petition na nipa ne dia aba no aba wo mu ana asa aba dim sa aba nim a ye be bo atwene sa aba wo mu a na refer to this disciplinary committee. The disciplinary committee no betrasia ye na dwuma the omo recommendation ba. Omo the recommendation ba, omo the general national executive committee through the general secretary. Also twen kopim say You be National Executive Committee and so this report na yabani endu
ni atwawi the one party no
well can the open be akon baby so we lose so a obetu akochi say masa oni program say waboka na so we say lose who go friend say masa na we head na account. What I think was missing is that I say the inbuilt ad hoc committee, ad hoc disciplinary committee be for purposes of the presidential elections and all related issues to the presidential elections. So BBC they will find a way of dealing with those matters as it arises. Na Emma Asocheno Enko Chesa. I think that also encourage a lot of people to say all kinds of things.
So I don't mind cost nano credit and cost war pattern because 2000 more Kakra Samoa Dambotri it take bold decision and suspending the broadcast late mails. I mean funny cry NCE one the very election general elections. But this time will be to me can be nice at Wakawie one faho one surobia or funny said Sabi Manu de Smina so chama fachami. I say pain be any party.
I believe sir that this prime process no what do. So be a BB take very long time answer it to me a punishment. And no a constitutional problem I will say yes. I will say in Bayam for say Usra Jaya Unyawarepa. Sometimes no we have feeling say oh numbers. Yeah, penny pado draw. Once numbers be or negative, unimsa. And in your numbers, none in your positive. Obi one is super in a cram and numbers nibi echo. So, inti also yes, strict in making sure say we'll be able to follow within the rules and regulations of the party, because the party constitution is clear. We shall take it. MCITC after 4. A can about duties of a member of our party. Now we shall duties now. Wow, we a party member no. Say me baba men kind chira na hu say nkofo bebre ebu party mraso a omo dwen say omo eye pepe yonti na omo kasa. The party no so ewo mra ewo se obia etumi ediso. So until for duties of a member, Article new constitution in you. Article 3, 4, 1 to 8. Okay. A member shall have the duty at all times to promote and defend the good name of the party. And do your party near who I said the any with Juma also say party no edim panel also obo mudero. Protect the unity of the party. Say nema obey no be my party no and shit never can abom. Be loyal and truthful to the party. Men ko kweti kwan ko reveal the secret of the party to go for and our opposition. Na emfefe bibi kakra obedinchi ana say obi a open assembly. Abide by and publicly uphold decisions of the party. We eya dia e kire say the party take a decision. Uni ho kwan so be kwa bonten na wako kasetia decision no, because your decision making process for instance here be court national executive the obi a hwe anim and say your Bema roadmap to the next internal elections. We are one obi afra say oh and then you the top down and then I say you the bottom up. Do you dream be fa one? What to be throw at the Brad General Secretary and all your article? A come dream. Say and take a decision. Do to make a dream. Now tonight you could take a decision. na feu ba radio so mo asase radio mo na solve your problems am I na mo problems am mo to solve into radio station mo problems mo to solve the radio station na ho na ukotra na afi na ukoka sibia ye jibi ne niema na emfaso ben e na obenya wo so na me kire no maybe simple way is that party no
constitution at be ejuma
constitution and it be ejuma
but party
no
me patcho ma meeting
okay party no ya call elections ya to aba ewie ya anya ade ya court committee no say ya expand polling station electoral area and yet nipa 5 yemfa bi enkeka ka ho ne no yakọ a friend is saying akọji atum ema yabe your new constitution nti any further decision bia be take bia must conform with the constitution yentumi nko echire nko kase yekofa tete constitution abe ye ho adwuma okay tete constitution no ekem party no so mra no internal elections no peneso say yanya top from right down national executive ni national council no omo nyomo na ye constitution omo ye rules and regulations are any constitution mo to guide the operations of the party nti omo dwen say betumi aye top down e catch am say ye tumi nye ne tumi nye ochna because constitution no enkasa
the best TF ase ho na abasoro
sana o say we nya de o say e debate kra so na be che no
right but obi ko fie na woti obeka say e chairman no na egitumi na candidate na say nipa a wotu franka e de ama party no e na egitumi
a combination of the two say party nipa a wotu franka no ko independent o to be winning
okay
a party ni ticket no so and the original dey aye party ticket nso no so ono so ye party ni nti ye kabom na ye develop because ye be develop manifesto presidential candidate any party in nebeye ye be disseminate information about the manifesto party ni presidential ejuma ne den ne kase ne de party ni neye
because sa question is a facha me uncle facha me say ne be ya NPP for ne Ghana for bi no e beti no ma bi ase ye to aba wie 2024 na bi appointed to Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia ono na omompe no ono na omompe no omo na omompe no ona amaye lusu menim so tibia na wotibia asobi a wasom party no na wagitumi ama party no epen no ete wo sayin
ye ko contest dia sa nema no beti bi me time ye to abama me national organizer na seat aye wo 122 pe a move seat from 122 to 169.
Wow.
2020 throughout the world, just about 5 political parties spend almost elections are to be winning a new patriotic party count. COVID intino, your primary square no tot. We to win your campaign, you to win your retail campaign in Yama. A seat in a sort 169 to 137. Your presidential candidate too. But because say your contest in Tino, as a John Boy Dunkwan and a running party no, not chairman or vice chairman and so national organizer or national youth organizer or that day. And so and it is said there me and now mama see what so ati. Oh the channel. And competition bad there. It will come bia. Who's a competition by near say vice president and flag bearer on you. And no be chow. Your back constituency elections, sir. You got a constituency chairman, no? And I constituency secretary. On me Lucy. Your back region. You got a regional chairman and a regional way. Uno be contesting the son of Becca. Your back national executives on way. On by church, we go explain tire. On by church, Musa. So sir, party for Omuti. I said, no, I'm a Jade 137. Now they are about 87. I said, oh my betty or my 70 betty. Into a part of our politics. So never because of you on ma, not your presidential candidate, baby, I do a cry, and my lose more a same presidential candidate. But on no contest there, what the best channel, Sarnet.
Your candidate be a bit to me a case we metonwa enye yi we metonwa ebe yi why general secretary paying organizer paying what some party bibiri your candidate be a ne ton be your day say party more to me na be
the thing is local dynamics they are very important. Candidate are very good war ayawa so we say be how they call na lerugwa onye good.
Okay.
Until you choose a candidate who take his nyina into consideration. We share opponents candidate ben or dene eba and likely or dene beba. Opponents no and he found no fee our constituency no. Opponents na sorry ben na oko. Opponents no ejuma ben na waye. Jusha sa nyema nyina na onso we candidate obetumi ama ne pluses no wetumi negate no na wetumi enya positive no we win no so na be nti idea very important. Sometimes election alone cannot determine the viability of a candidate.
Okay.
Until that there's a need for a lot of work to be done in terms of sometimes you need to go and poach even a candidate. Because in 2003, baby, even Chambers, if he bimbila or call ECOWAS, no, now ye per candidate for bimbila. Kokoma for whom you mean bako, you would difference room. To say a santiphonic for and a fancy account for, but and then put on Chichemo a woman.
Okay.
A bit dorsal, a bit norsal. Didn't a particular type of company. You show more beside the sort of form, yeah. The who say, Nitiwu, and I didn't quite a boy. No school, you go find a buy. Nah, you never failed them. And they say, which me at name Olusu Bakubi, and also buy. Which me at think I am for that type of kokumbani engineer ticket swa kasi se bimbila constituency no any ho. It will be as a can debut a turner. Yes, can debut or no ma depending on the local dynamics no o turner ombre. Can debut or ha depending on local dynamics any opponent ebe ma o turner abebre. And this work is a tedious thing. So we said, yeah, king. Now go for hard. They were also suitable.
Yeah.
And Komunyanka, your mom contest. And then Tina, you go far will be your student pon we school. But yeah, researcher, yeah, and a chess. Yet you are no qua, never boy. So until ye be near to say, Munko Tuaba. Debbie, we are sad, they over lose relations, though. Because all Kaya. The year 1996, and I think it's becoming clear. As so bomb the bomb now, movie called opposing the Medina. Since I did the video, almost over the so born in Abome. Because now the Papa Moa. Because you're 87 members of parliament. You're more than Bobby who buy or more. Aya dear. Na ya to me any constituency for na ankasa any polling station for ankasa. Ni ejaya so big crazy car bar no abetu na. One sha 87 ye nya omobion. Nti djuma wo ho. Hwe the year 1996. Na it was 61 member parliament due patriotic party. Out of a 200 parliament. Yeah, was 61. A juma mu ye in India mantino. Yeah, ko 2000. Yeah, mama koi. Say juma dia mo dintino. 61 dear. Yeah, ma contest in Baho Monko. And no more call ya. Winnie Esenya Bibe Kanwa, it win ya majority. And they win the 2000 elections. Thank you, and say, oh, contest, Akufado, or Savma for contest, no, we contest now. Kabe brave follow. Because as some I can't do 2 MP there, they can't get you. Intro, you know, correct.
So not incredible. No,
I remember our story. I don't know whether it will be appropriate to mention the name of the MP. MP na oh and or contest bio. Until the crew for no eba the whole parliament. Na omucha picture. Parliament job 600 on the was abronsan kakraka. Na cars esisi ho. Omoko contest no. And the opponent opese obe contest no. Eko ye copies bebre. I say one mo MP no. One who fear otimu one cry. One who fear otimu one cry. One who fear otimu one cry. E cars nkwa oba no said that the taxi aba. Or said that the taxi and the car enyefe. Shekas Land Cruiser Benz. Wait. Picture no lie. Oni almost a picture no. We see well the year ni yanse ni wo fasia. What taxi amano oye work campaign. Ono so me wo face ani 3 more days now wo sika ne cars bebre na nka fa me kai me cry. Now wo se me nya work campaign. Ni wo fasia ni kokan ni opponent ho. No more spreading information against this MP. And MP ni lose. Miss MP ni ye bitter. The next election, no. MP no share the opponent, no. Echi. And no more campaign against the obetu, no. And the other party, no. A winning. So, maybe we a winning election or so baby the officer me wo how me got now yes Jumbo Dakoto Abronsan and no mu de twea ba konso e wo haya na e wo mo kwan ya so because e do 2020 no na me here so confidence so buy now go for be good so na niamanti I needed a place to do an operation. And papa no de ho mame me say ye bo mi tiri so sa na makota bronsai makoye say aveda no bi ho mi me ba me say me ba oba me hefa e hono obi fie na mete. Now you see the very people so no uti wesi ufie a uti bono na wakosi dan. Only baby so and Sanseni na only baby that secretary you know it you can't please everybody so never change and who be here say yeah it's there be ko isa ko for work can some bebre but they here na say yeah the clear rules and regulations because says a rule ni and a law ni yeah nya bone. A declare rules and regulations ebeba right na yetumi ayemane ayefe
enti abusuan na ne no best rew say obe like no share video we are the comments at the comment section na say
also say on person be vice on person be mate na on person why driver and I can say onim ni nyina so and the one thing na maka asem say ye nto no so aba said ye nipa nyina koto no so aba Kennedy will set a record na ne de sense wiem enti onim
niema ɛda hɔ twɛn no that's the reason why until that's why we should say na chita for nya botrema no de odi fie chire ba no me sit ne de ne besati ɛyɛ record a ɛda hɔ say asama ye ka ne nei ɛyɛ record yenkoto Canada so aba obia nim se ba homia na eteki a ba homia na kita mantel no for now but ye nto no so aba ye be frɛ na ka kyerɛ ne sɛ omra ye be frɛ straight aka kyerɛ omra enti de wo ye sitie eti asɛm no wɔtena se nemo de wɔnye sitie nemo bo pɔsɔ no betua na mo no sɛ de ɔno ankasa ne nim de ne nya sateɛ no ɔkɔkɔfa enti ye kasa ye no wɔtie enti wɔtie no doesn't mean sɛ wan twetwo ne kyerɛ sɛ ya asɛm na ɛkan no ambam nemo ye kasa ye no nkrofo ne mpanifo bi wɔ underground mu tie and the spiritually na de ne da hɔ ana man kan na such a way sɛ wɔtwetwo de akɔ ba ɔmea so sɛ no ɛyɛ no ne nkrofo a ɔma disappoint no enti no ye gina platform simpie no so kasa ye no edu baabi ema nkrofo trans ka say e true say ade we na sofo bi dia beto abontin ti so wan hwe ni yi a ebesi enti to avoid everything they say e was say okita for himself ene di no ekita tu a wode ko ho me se bibi besi ama na twetu physical na die na besie ene say nkrofo mo na be disappoint no enti me kire makwa se me di MP pani bi obewu a message some sacrificing no uza mechanic akro kire wo sama ka kire wo yeah enti kokoma some na different than the better video so ka enti adwuma no ene sen de ye ho adwuma se ensi nye se besi na chese yaben so obi tu ka so free concrete na okra se nyame bo me ho ban de me concrete bedu na se manya nkwanhia na se bibia me ko bedu osumdua me de aseda be manyame na obi su kra se nyame me ko akra babo me ho ban na de okoba ye no ba ko no okoba se bibia ensi no ana de okoya accident ne tie ko paye no one de na miracle de ne de bibia ensi no ana ye miracle na nyim mo nya de ne tie paye na ke de ne tie paye ne de ndie nyame antimi am protect no ne mo de nyame protect no ayo obi a okoba du osumdue ma asem na ensi timi shan control
ere na course wo ma ba to
ene ma bebre wo sadam ba ya wada se ya ene ni week me kan ho nsem bebre se de obi aye bia ba besi edu sa Wednesday no obi enu a obeye bibia be fa bi na maka to wo se adwuma bi obi aye bia no e obabi aso mense sama no se me se ba o me be de so be president mense sama no asem me ka to 2011 mense sama no da so ntimi nye president no obeye just 78 years so Benya president just 78 years. Ntini nima juma obeya etikana di no ba so wa lusu ni nyina no akwai te say El Bernard prophecy ya nkofo attacking unim say omadi matama oh yes one guy bi wa Adom TV on ye the bedroom pensem na bibi ayefa na akwasinsia something like oh I'll tell you minister for Roger sir yeah minister for Roger Wadi matem fucking was me ya kromfo okay me ya kromfo na me de mafu nenam na me ya wi me ni Roger ya wi and enura ne tiyeye me ga no kra me nimu no me ni but honorable me so sini so me so sini me na huni pakra me ye oh and the ofuru dua na to hwe wasi me so sini so because ali me din ohun ade ba ko a me mpene se me pese nipa ti me din a enye bone so ma yenya medwuma for so many years me will make us say we are the masters of the game me wonya medwuma for about 28 years ali wo mi asasrewa o yeah wo mi asasrewa enakura na meka enakura na ba mu kakra yeah it me free a continuation apostle Assemblies of God and sorry me asa tetemini asana me be start ministry it is obi the only me be catch say me ya kromfo ali me ti affiliation na make so I don't want to boast myself ade bia say make say me wo say minimum the course me wia minimum the cross so for bia ni Ghana ha ana say obeka so kura hemfo a time wo Ghana ha I tell you so for ni bia ni Ghana obetuma ka che me pain say okita hemfo chen me but ale dia me nya bi da say me di so for bi me di panimu bi ebeba me nya bi da so be ka so na me say me ya za me kura panifo nya titirifo Mumfa phone, na mumfa marshal to say, yisi former yisi boss. Na mumsa say me nante for so many years. My phone club is an even 1 cedi da. Yanko a custom officer the whole Ghana. Ya mumsa say my phone abisan say me here bibi da. Ali mi won panifo bebre me nya me dwumam ade ba ko a me nya bi da. Do ba me che be betuma campaign say me de me yetitidifo nya me fa me so ye bibi ma wa na ko abeda mase. Me de no no. Ena ko na me ye bi ahwe. Basa woni mi da betimi ade me picture ato na o tell me say me ni Roger ye kromfo ani me say bia Roger be jama asam naka ba me de o say me ni Roger ye kromfo me ya hwi na me ya de fu nenam me hwi awa de me ma ofie me sra de sama ko kasa me se ba o me say ontimi me di president 2028 na me kasa ba o me ontimi president 2028 me se ma se me kano 2011 e wo Fox FM 2011 na smart wo ho na Captain Smart e wo ho on the interview me say interview we say good man and then any producer that time on the guy be friend Abrampa omuna na producer that time and on interview me say ba o me so be try be tenase abedi president this one 78 years asam na maka no ensisa da but me friend me say now my sister finya me dwuma mu ye politics ana me say me ye politician me susu ni tumi anya me dia dum ye kura me no ale asem bie no ha me bie ma no be ka establish it amun checking me records say asem ba na me dia beto bonten a ensi da me wi me sha fa akire ma ye ho adwuma
ti e de na ka se ba o me twitwa wanhwe
ayi kana de betwitu am ana me ka cho say e won sania city a oye because ye betra afidie so kan ye ensam ne koi am what trust we say asam so no e be ye true e tell so wo se ne ho so na afen so no enkofo ti asam no am ne kasa ka chen say ma onye kam na asam na e ko se ne ye kan ade ato ho mini one man be a panim ba o frame e ka asam we kirem say me my o tu fa ko mo cha me on me kasa because prof me je wasem di ana de okabia ye do betima ye bia na national na fa na si from kana de twitu se de ya o man na ba o timbi enti nkotra fidie so nka emfa nkwaje wudin me kasa no ye oni me kasa no kate ko na me se gina na me wra ho it is no na mo die na wo se ye adwuma empanifo so ne kasa se na ye de abetudwa enti asam so koi asam no koi asam no koi eti me to mu se oya me hu se obi muse ababa muse akotwe picture na tagi di matem we afa di matem na nkofo de sanyinam so oh na me ko we ko de no me emu mabam na I wonder why say Prophet Bernard Becker say oh you sorry about the prophecy of the ama na NC well who na dey clear Kennedy will still lead the MPP party. No, me nya so pacho. Eh. I didn't so pacho. Nyame say.
Who defend the prophecy?
Yeah. Nyame say.
That mem chese nyame.
Nese Bible na bi asiwom. Bebre. Yo nkom se bebre sisi Bible ma up to ne. Bebre su am I. Up to say me no ka se nkom se bebre e wo Bible ma am I. Nese nyame ka so ko se Sodom and Gomorrah. Ananya on the kai. Also me ko se Sodom and Gomorrah. Okoy na Abraham sorry jinai. Eko predict enti se wunya nipa be 30 a wo be se nana. O se me se no. O se ne mema nipa 30. Mema nipa 40. O se me nipa 40 dia me se no. E ba ya be si nipa 5. E ba ya be si 5. Yes. Nyame na yesum no nyame timi si sana dwene at any time. E to betime hu asem naka. Enti na ofise mbara bi oso betena wo se Kennedy mefa de na na. Enti obi aye na dwuma. Enti alon last de oye adwuma ni yie no. Na wi ni ye and in the realms no obi anim se Kennedy de e da homa no. But ba me antra se de no o trans ba me so we vice president. A onim kwan o fa so a oba we ne ene sunsum ne tumi a ofam ene ne ma odi kura ya odi betena akonye nachi edufi so be jan sa say Kennedy mam take or he took control over him on tiasie into underground no adwuma bi koso sunsum sem bi ko baby enti se Kennedy na ntimi ama we ne no nche se Kennedy ntimi bedu brebi me se asema me kan mun koso market to se Kennedy be lead MPP ba omia will never lead ba omia will never lead this party
better than the Bumbusa.
Say one na Bambu.
The leader of the party.
Baumia Bambu.
He's not the leader of the MPP.
And just omu kra ni ye. Just omu kra Baumia ye because Baumia me say asem makan last year our radio stations me so. Say there's near be the home no a bad thing. Say onye sa adwuma na ontimi da. Baumia nye save one. Onye save one. Na that save na onye ni nti e be yadin. Me say kala de bia ye nto no so aba o. Ngia nto no so aba. Oba take control. Oda ma ha. Ye nto no so aba. Ma so grant interview bi on the KSM. And was say when you be a new year say oba bia mu da. Enene. Na ma twi video na me hwe. Enti officer say 2 3 amade nti na so trust obi abiem. So on trust obi anymore. I want abra bomu biem. Efri da ohun se ono anu nkrofo omone nam no. Sa omum and a disappointing no. To face and can never be uncoso and casus one pass cause the Canadian Canadian obey was spending a lot and in a rush by Nipa disappointing. And Sabaomia Jumana, I want a new so on try say Sadi and Obeya, Messiba member be the president of my women. This one 78 years. The 70 years is when you say for into mon calculate. Edanoso. What was you say? Oh, Edanoso. What you want to say? Kennedy take control. Messy young control by me, you know. Enter El Bernard, who ya na all your announcement. Now, only the prophecy way, no, I am say how to present. Say those he can't some naturally pan. That's the most important thing. Tise me who say utia chia. Ebi a wasan ka me kan in the way say bia ebedu brebi. Ade weni eba tu nti ebema we si yaba. Ba say wo so ni sani pan sani bia what declare abano ade amano say ebia na bibi wa chira. E wo se ni pan wonye nwiye. E na bia wo so ho de okura wo ntimi nya sa adwuma ne mfama no. Enti wo be declare ne ne, ba wo kire bia obi a ho de so chen. Ti nkrofo ne okura ba o miansa no. No mo ho de ne omode ye adwuma no. Eye Baumia de da ho in the realm say or cost rubber form obefa me say boss for interview me catch on pay Kennedy so was standing for Melku kura onya e was omo ye omo ye mu onfa
abusha fo akasi madunum na no mienu abo mo amosomfo Ali Dan Kambare me na menua Prophet Ransford Odru na e bon common me di nipa me true nipa me yehune na ase nyina ko be ne nkomo na ekọ viral say o say Kennedy betwitwu live eyan croford de pa Kennedy so atwitwu nchimu no na o de man se sebe de wa bodam na enwene na ye kushia ebien foko e meeting e se na wise ade na dwene nye oba on tenase be gina wa di nsemfon ne ya kan washa de say ya international call na konya so no nyasafo a obetenase obena tanfo ne yewu nti obetwitwu na so kwatwe etuo so no Ghana mrem no etia na wura ne kire mu se ya no wo wiem nti ye kan asem a en ade ba kwa na efe se dawe enne na watwe na otia no kasa na Kennedy wura Kennedy onua ketwa Rafael ponsotia tu sori ya no betina ko yanso se ni brown ni tu non tutu kurada nti se bia na firi oko no mo yo mo meka who knows now ni speech ode mai crofo se papa yi ase obubuani be fro no di abo atotoa na wode wapra atena so oni na okofa bo ni bi bi de se de pa na ma papa yi kan se na tita fon ko ma ko to na mbere e wo mo ni o te ni speech
Mati
chita from command come to na bre
also say on person by vice on person be mate na opese why driver and I'm can say onim ni nyina so and the one thing na maka asem say ye nto no so aba said ye nipa nyina koto no so aba Kennedy will set a record na ne de sinsin wiem enti onim niema eda ho twen no that's the reason why enti that's why we shemu say na tita fo nya botre ma no do di fie chire ba no me se ne de ne ba sati e record a eda ho say asama ye ka ne nei e record ye nkoto Kennedy so aba obianim se ba homia na eteki a ba homia na kita manto no for now but ye nto no so aba ye be frɛ na ka kyerɛ ne se omra ye be friend straight aka kyerɛ omra
ye adwuma we ma menra my auntie bi say am say me ana me pese me ko in case say number 1 no mo abeda mo akoto number 1 ni ho no mo a ana o show no interest a omo ko primary bi ma na say number 2 na eko eya na nye na so say for the panto obetumi age aka bi aso but here interpretation din pa meto tipo bi a constitutional lawyer na de omo nya ye be chi atifo omo constitution na say lawyer Dominic Brinyanom ene lawyer Kwame Appiah dom one mo de omo she inside o ti o metumi a kire say ali so nya adwuma bi ma aboaje na e ba na ye kofa npa afra ba bi ana aboaje understand we hunu ade ko se de obega fana ba ma me ansa sorry na eminya nyu nyi de o ko mbe ha me
asai on say sa program we nkofo so afaso edi matem yedi watem bi
me una mo na ha mo anya wo na abeka me adwuma me yi me ntie do bi de minim se me ye bi aye me tie omo amesum omo so adwen but nya de omo beka na me mefa obi tumi fo na ya me de kamede ho ateni ne me ne matwam ho mo na fe na mo ni wi de mo da mo pe coach che me de matwam ho me am colleagues radio presenters cry from say hey massa I said massa what's your problem I'm dealing with content my god me pe content you know me pe content you know I'm not connected I'm connect me de me attend in there o you know what there because me de me share what they say helmet na me o martin na nyam fuku
now on say we are innocent calling me to come for that interview no and to the stand say me na mabe kamasem and akwani kasa no mushe kure kasa wonso kanasem no o say ai wo na wote wo na wo ye sa wo so sa asofo nkurasefo no so
nyansani no wo so kuruma
wo so asofo nkurasefo no so
and asofo kurumfo so right ba no so asofo kurumfo so me share dwa na mi dware no me no me ne read am pass ma bodam ko enya aworo ye abodam fo agu emi pele ti na se nyansa fo mi no fo mo awia eti se me ye jimi fo kwase ampani na me so mo kwase afo no so a onu nyansani no o so nyansa fo so fo no so content forget about them we obi won mo ahu da bia no wa fa no wantwi a onya content ye mu bi me se ye tutu from the asho okura omo mutie no discerning when you listeners me tie phone tantan when omo mutie me nye ni padodo na me pe discerning people are make team no matemase it is obi intimi value stories no mfa we ntu nse ne nye say na da bi opese any one way man sani pa no onye me listener ha me pe obi a wo pa de asua na wo we ni ma no isu na dwen nya so obi obefa asem hook line and sinker me utifia say kura nya obi a na wo dan nu a ono ya adwen nkwasa asem kura oti a okeka and to the Pike production team nipa no come production team so kan kwasa oni team me nua no me ye adwuma nyina nti wo mo tie achi obebrebe no mo content no wudi matemo wani matemo apetampe eti wo dia wo dwon dia na me da
ali akomo nemi o
yo mo labi nya akoma so live
enti so obi tinchen na sa akwasi hwanhwan no akwasi siyasa se komo na demia on fa machi no onya inquiries kakra
kom ne no onya adwuma ye
me me employee no yeah me employee no me wo TV station me esa Ghana ha it make me employee no
yo media network bi on wa we are presenter na usifam attack personality we twon sign no matter your talent you twon sign it am se men ko why obi an ko fa so no gather the news gathering obi an ko fa so hia ne de me ko am fa so me gather the news no enya wo wasem wo fe enya wo da gida de here jametie and them nya people for beba I saw them obi so be call ma bi. What's your problem?
Ali Sunday Mrs. Santa Biana Shebre. Kwesi Adanopa. Yeah, Kwesi Adanopa. Dear Opesa who say na brabo Opesa Okon in 2026. When she am Sunday morning. Mr. Tia sorry 8 o'clock. Number 12. My number is 0243
0243
02 04 24 0243 02 04 24. My number no.
Raden kan.
Amen.
Raden kan pa. Eti share Bernard Nkran.
Me ma wo se so for makwata mu. Ma wo se so for makwata mu nyina bom pae ma no. But the meka ne say so we can be business eno si ho na eno nkyere say we fake o. You are not a fake prophet. And I make us say nyankopon asem mu no bebre siye. Into on fa sa nyame asem no de siye. Na on fa nchichi no ho re because so yeah the end there. Omohwe o content na wo de baaye no. Either say you good obi amfa. This a bad and o man mu odi ne beko akiri. Se me ba benefit me bra ne makanse bebre. Ada na ba ko ha na me beka se Kennedy betwituo na won tweye no. Honko a ne afa eko akiri. Eno abrochefo nyina frɛ sɔfo yɛ follow pa but Kennedy betwituo ne wa antwe. Eno kra de you see obia kasa asɛm no. Bernard when any cause was o trust for 1 year. Mom on mana bamu muda. Na nyo no nkwa ne nipa wa hyɛ nkom ana wa kan bibia. Because in the Bible na nkasa ye di akire no. Yesu Kristo na nkasa ye di na chi no mpo o ka asɛm wa abra still ensi ye. Enti mo mana bamu mu on hyɛ ne hu nkonai.
Berase o se odi mato de say.
Akwasi nsia. Ona ya adom badwam anopa. O adom TV. Video no ha. Me pato video no ha. Ai said na jumara. Ani ona ya adom badwam. Adom badwam morning show empese. No odi kan ye program no ha. Program no ha.
Say the program share me. The program there enye maso.
Ona yes program adom badwam empese mu. Ona ye.
Menyo sure say
akwasi nsia.
Menyo sure say kra kumenti etie no. Say odi atem.
Akwasi nsia na ye.
Me boss kra kumenti. Kra kumenti on tete me. It me attack presenters. It kra kumenti o tie. Say o attack ubore. Omonyo adom nya adwuma sa. O content your content. It was saying it's okay, bro. It's okay.
Be a Roger be church. Me ne beko.
Jana life.
Say me person wo kire ma de kro mako wia. Also this are chrono tag me say wo ye kromfo. Wo ye kromfo.
Pe wo de wo ne wa bo patare wo nya din age. Jana man nko nsuo be fa no. Leave me alone. Punim. He said the idea na say if you cannot beat them, you join them. Well, yeah, now we're on social media. Until then, I say, I don't want to believe that say what a hot workers ask them. And come on, a corporate here, almost so issue. I'm so much I didn't go home. Will be content. What's your problem? We are social media presenter, and now we are corporate. Masa.
Medasali.
Medasali. Oh, progress or solve. Channel life.
Me gusto solve.
Master Jesus Quran. An opportunity to be able to turn up the show say or tell you when you be the show this one. Or some so be in an okra. More now follow coffee now see got him. Leave him alone.
Right.
At the right time or no who say I was over so now about prostrate. Yeah, they say your microphone. And it will be a microphone be a sound no explode. I'm telling you honestly. I would never mind my words. Yeah, you cry a microphone. You move breathing. Just some mic in my area near Tiase. Near refuse be a Tomae, a chamber no bitia. He made the man not to me for some microphone powerful. But also managing microphone. I may be a firebrand pa. Forget about my phone. Me make a sound, me know, but me dream with him. Me feeling penny nakanasem. Except for to make control. But me mean you told you my men need my cup. Some of Banamo Combanamo. And you know, what's in me every day?
Brahani Makansa Mibri. Adana Bakuhana, Becca, Kennedy Betutuna, one tree and Honkoa, Yafa, Equa.
abusuafo na hwefo ye mamu nyina makwaba e de ba channel so ha sei eye solid tv midin e de shaibu lasisi mesel se gibre na hu manim ache enkomo ofie na me de ebrel amanebo a me de nam ne eye miero de edikan ono abo Kennedy Kwame Akomprekwa Japan e de atodwa se amantem dunsia ne nyina no wo ba be set up factories e de amagana fo empenin se aboa once na onihwe no oposa ne nsem wo ye na adwe so be Ghana mampeni wa biebie nnwuma no e ma Ghana mabuna nya biaye na se wa me Ghana mampeni a de na ho de be so no wo se opese wo ye na nimanimu ya na e mabunu agu abontem ne adwuma ne edoso de etoso mieso eno eye Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia enne oye MPP ye Frank Akurani no ete ho a woje enchia na empanifo bi ekopie ne naso a waje microphone and wo kan nsem se enam se ne ye ba beko MPP primaries no enipa bi kwampa na o mu free Asante Mantam ano ebepe Asante Mantam efree na ebusa de Dr. Bawumia wo ya Asante ni enne wo ba kire manfo a o mu free Asante Mantam no mo mu free a and some way afobri na man na no pay wi anwumre me de ba be so mo se akwansosem se hu mani mu acha me krete corner me nko ba bia afe na me ba be soja no edi asu omo so omo fi se e bia shaibula sisi no me no omo atemu me be kajagum me twam ho aba me ba enkomo bebri e wo fi
but na sabi na etie no na ye nipa enum na ye pie ye nipa enum ye nyina na obia so na nida Asante so enyesa na obia ne ni da Asante so ebi mu ka say omufiri Asante by force enyesa omufiri ho ebi mu se ye tete me ha enyesa members of parliament wo hona bibia na obia ka but na obia so nim se media mi Asante ni Asante hene ne ba pregupe enyesa enti more seriously that's the ekono na ehuhu ye hu kakra but na ye nim se de ebeko Asante region no na ohwe obi anini edaso ye hwe se de ye be ye no chairman no
abra fa nchi asonko ema ya hwefo ene atiefo mo ebre ne brebia no monya ho ehwe no enchi asonko enkoma mo menchia ma de nyina Appiah na menchia me maame Christian Japan ene honorable Kennedy Kwame Akomprekwa Japan menua ba Faustina ana afi so da akonta ana sister Fia Frimpoma of Canada ene ahwefo nyina no ebre ko me beje bre na mabomu nyina mudin na enkomo bebre ewofie ye ba bedi nkomo aftermath of the new patriotic primaries na ekoye no meka se be na wotwe ene enakake na Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia wono ana emerge as winner na me ba bedi hu nkomo kakra e de acho na afese ensensemi so a ene nanamu ana afese no anamo a honorable Ken wo tu no me ba abedi hu nkomo na yen free asam na ase honorable Kennedy Kwame Akomprekwa Japan ebra no obo ntoa kanche party delegates se wono wo ba no oba bebiebie nnwuma ema Ghana fo anya adwuma ye wo se ewi ase nipa wani monyam ene wadwuma oye oba na oni adwuma ukunu emu o makra mpo no ani die se fata mo mfama na aye be ma kwa de bobo wo chance ni pia na tenten ti se de ato table so ento ne wo ba e the industries e de aba oba the factories aba ema Ghana mabunu anya biaye honorable Ken eton sa message we ema ne to Ghana fo nyina tim ewi achi no na Ghana fo a na omukon endo politics omukon be do politics because of a certain Kennedy Japan omo free say kwan your person or the Ghana efa no the way ye betimi agye ye ho ade free sabi ye say independent bastard I that so it depending on emnofo chance mu ye kwato aba 31st of January 2026 no na MPP delegate sabi ebi mu adamo ne honhom etom ebi mu sabi subanpa enu omu say omo de omo mpe adwuma ya afebọ na emom no omo pe 1000 cedis 2500 sika omo tafre alewa edi twi omo tache maso eno no wagina che kwa akoto aba en omo koto aba wie yem Ghana for ama MPP delegate ati ase eyo opposition no ma renew no eyo opposition no ma make can say o ma extend no so a vote against Kennedy Japan during the MPP primaries it's just like say you've just extended opposition na about 20 mu wie no yenya nipa bia omo be kire die nti a omo campaign ye edema honorable Ken Emma MPP for Kende Japan who ye mahi for NDC for Kevin Taylor project honorable Ken NDC for now project honorable Ken said the MPP delegate because o nyambo na mbe ye candidate amaye ewi a chen na fidie we ye omusumie no na MPP delegate akwa akotom na the MP for Adansia Krofo kwa babonte de babetu dwa said with Kende Japan no na eye den e de mo in 2028 but Dr. Baumia de eye cool chop 77 peduasa say I show 10 naira onko fa player wato apache emfa no kongo face omo ana de nam na honorable Ken ne nsama no woka no enam se oyo obi a oye talk na do nti no honorable Ken said ye na obetim de oman sikaye obetim de oman tumi aye no se saade no kwa amamu a wono no woka se nyame ma ne nkwa ma ne di 70 years a obe bro factories na guo me no ka se honorable Ken they own the biggest coal store in Africa, the most advanced and sophisticated steel plant in West Africa is being owned by a Ghanaian person. That is Honorable Ken Kwame Akumpa Japan. We acquired 30,000 of land, 30,000 acres of land at Wadakru, and another 30,000 of land, another one so at Adidome, and our 156,000 acres of land and so Wajin and so was Sege or Babe cherry tomato in the account. And now call Central Region or Czech so yeah, Babe see the largest pharmaceutical industry in West Africa. And no maku numa yem producing in West Africa, in Africa, no, yeah, Babe produce Ghana, yet being owned and also partnership by Honorable Ken Kwame Akumpa Japan. Now, Honorable Ken said, Oba Abe started with 16 factories across all the 16 regions. Mantem biabenya 1 factory. Na itima boa e dia pushi Ghana mabuna omuni adwumaye ma dodo na adwumaye. Na Honorable Ken factories Oba be bie no. Edia ana eka ede ache Ghana for, edia na eka ache youth for, edia na eka ache politician for. One, the eka ache Ghanaian youth ni say, wo ye Ghanaian youth ani da so ba say, papa bi e fa ne Kende Japan ba be bie benuma amwonye biaye. Adia eka ache politicians ni say, one, all politicians are not the same. Politician bi wo ha wo se me paade we, se me saka meye we, ne nsakra kampo awonye ba Kende Japan say, ne nsakra mpo anka no eya de obeye de ama Ghanaian youth no and to okwa de obetima ye oye de ama Ghana youth ana de e kan che Ghana for sem wo ye Ghana ni a nyagidie se Ghana no with a certain leader like Kende Japan ebeye and to da no abompa se nyankopon ye pese Kende Japan be Ghana mampani e kwanya Kende Japan be fa so be Ghana mampani ye nhwe ho de enima se Kende Japan ye Ghana mampani and to ye Ghana ni a ukoda abompa se nyankopon ma Kende Japan be Ghana mampani e kwanya Kende Japan be fa so be Ghana mampani ye nhwe ho se MPP na de ne bebo se hwan na de ne bebo se CPP se PNC se hwan yo but meme wo gidie se Kende Japan still lead MPP and become Ghana's president na eniema pa MPP ba bia na ye timi de ban Kende Japan e de fa kese e de aba na mame ka che na adan kwakufu ade se nyankopon nhira no nyame ntua ne ka se na adwuma sitie sa kokura bone wo utifie na fa phone e fra appointee se me anto aba ma Kende Japan na num kasa nye de o ka che appointee se Kende Japan e be president ya wo use appointee president Kufuado se Kende Japan na num kasa nye da Kende Japan man ne ohu ni Ghana e tanya Kende Japan nya ni nyane eye se na o difa no wa Kufuado sa tam no na obusia for guy bi o che da akom asante bedi atuom ene o nam fufuo mu nyina se wo onye ni papa Honorable Ken o kan se manfo asore atiawa ono obe supporto na Honorable Ken etanya wonya between Kofo camp ene wo na Addo camp is not na Addo wo na wiase sika enye bibia sika enye bia na nyankopon ka obegu anim ase hwe president Kufuado hwe nim gwata de akwot na fie hwe Ghana for are not even proud say if we had a certain former president Efena Kufuado nyame ama Mahama wrongs our year no nyame ama an opportunity to come and rewrite it well who Kufuado who nyasa opportunity that now you will go down as the worst president Ghana has ever produced who Kufuado kwa ana ultimate time omansika more than 51 million Ghana cedis ekotu amena South Bay National Cathedral Kufuado adwuma no who Kufuado kwa ana Ashanti region to about 1.8 million man now be try 80 why nya she in Ashanti region wo yere Rebecca Kufuado kwampo na wo no anya president kwampo ebesi Becker Foundation conference ya be ka Akufo should tell me adia Asante region be ka na ko tre fie say ana me anto awoma kende Japan ya anto amano the open Fredjuna Sana Fananti akukura bone na obi ehun so na ya akukura bone me say President Akufo ade o de kende Japan ma hu say Nebukadnezar ene Akufo Nebukadnezar ene Akufo Nebukadnezar mu promo ene Akufo na mane kende Japan nya e bi efre Akufo esi how your former president, you know why pe. Esi ano you know why pe when you president. And among some share most some say na we en so hwe kese. Hwe de obeya Ghana. Obe fa dollar from 4 cedis to 17 no ba umia. Enne Mahama mo so wasana hwe de oye dollar. Hwe de oye dollar. De wasana dwanfunu no hwe de oye dollar. Ano dwan ya ote ase no, wade ne baba umia e ma dollar to 17. Na me no me papa ke de Japan sa me tunufo na so betie me mafutuo ebi ono onfa ma dwenche ebi onfa na meka cho ono ken se factory se obebebie MPP delegate ai na nim hanchu ebe gina wo se opadwuma ya ka che ne se he chose D-Day money over jobs and Ghana for na omno omo troso kende Japan ye fa adwuma ne ma omo aye meme shaibula sisi mafutu aye me akade mbe ba menye kende Japan on the other party no on the kende Japan do party ni chance party ni do no to be ko to understand say ne ma school fees or be topic am e dey ama MPP e be wi a MPP for kende Japan e ni paboni ni ti factory say be bia ide ka pa ma me ko head ba ko na ma me mfa adwumayefo no because me hweb message honorable Ken no de nam ene de na ba omia de nam abo oni dua nyame ne pra no na abo oni dua e fragbera abusa fa de yenko the topic of the day. Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Boymesia na ye poyempo woni MPP Franka Kurani omo se nyina ye campaign man ye be campaign so amana baba we ne Ghana mampeni no edibero na Dr. Baumia ye kwa campaign me ka kire mo se boni bia ekoso MPP mu bia no se abro nya dikede Japan ko ka dikede Japan atem Baumia na fragbara ninti e na wode niema ekatakata nyam se meboa okọ ni krom eko use ni krom kasa e kan se stika e ya danko o rabbit oh ene ya anti ana kede Japan ne kasa ana koka mu edi atem no mo apo mu ni atem nyese ni ato aba na wie ana o ye fragbara na Dr. Baumia nkoana 2023 onya 61% na 2026 onya 56% was 56 no eso che 61 no Dr. Baumia nkoana dollar sa ukofa no 1 cedi e de ko 4 cedi sa wabon na afa de 4 cedi e de ko 17 cedi dia oya ade ano nam ana manfo ba an wo hwe sa 56% na e so che 61 no na region bia constituency bia to na ba maame ana ode na ma ana si ande si mbie campaign mu ti dia ona ma wo yen so so na wabo no women organizer mo ma chia me ni aba youth organizer no ma ba chia no enti o ma chia se beti na bia the month of the year of 2026 no because omu wi a disabled force be kwa akochia no omu wi a na bia omu na asara fo na akochia no omu wi so a NDC fo so a omu chese o ma convert ba akochia ti sa na 2026 ya wi na 2027 afa no nam agrizo fo so na nam abuzun vie sa so na afa de 2028 ne atako na so obawe ne wawe ne obawe so ano wawe ana group bi ekwokwachia omu ana Dr. Baumia say ono beji microphone akasa e hoda Dr. Baumia e ba be chese o hwe the vote onyan na Ashanti region na ebo na adwene ntiase so na ye ba be kɔ no na emanfo bi say wo mo na wo ye Asante fom to Asante mantem ebi kwa because of elections no on ma free Ashanti region ebi kwa so e kire say na wo ti Ashanti region na say akutia ani niwa ma men kan sem cho omo na wo so wo free Ashanti region aduchum free Ashanti region dia no say one free Ashanti region so ya tete Ashanti region no e ken de Japan ana de obepe ha free so e ban na champion oka so free offense I nim so free kwa ana ondam ana oka sansem no na dia me pesa munya musua de alsem Dr. Bawumia on se sign ya to aba wie frag bed also can party bom no wonam ana o cast insinuations against opponent adia with at this point ehia na Dr. Bawumia onye politician obegu MPP say Dr. Bawumia ye politician pa mo sorry ana we yakwachi Bawumia kene Japan ko ho kokan Jimmy phone ti say box iron we enene one nam ho welcome people into Dr. Bawumia house koka timi didi kene Japan atem na kene Japan enko Bawumia fie na koka we na me welcome no is it good say Dr. Bawumia so do MPP one person come aboard so pen ba bi ntina so that people are koka teach o na so can have good heart to campaign for Dr. Bawumia ana Dr. Bawumia nam no yes adro na o ma start adie bi na o ma hwe ya Adam can say me say top down approach no aye no ebia the purpose see am the buy no mo benya ebi some you end up doing something worse and the worst is yet to happen tie Dr. Bawumia tewo ana chama wuntumi eye ne campaign man no chama wuntumi kwa akwacha Dr. Bawumia say chairman national chairman Dr. Bawumia has chosen wuntumi to lead the MPP national and now call constituency regions now. Oba Ashanti regional group be a press conference. Omni Dr. Bawumia and a call Nakana, Omni Dr. Bawumia Frabela. Until Dr. Bawumia call for chairman Kokofu, former Bantuma chairman, former MPP member of parliament for Bantuma. Now Onumbra make big coalition, no win as the Ashanti regional MPP chairman. Woman me fighting against Coca. Now I want to sound this warning. I want to advise Dr. Bawumia and the campaign and say, Coca in Ashanti region was an institution. Coca in Ashanti region is an institution. At the say, education ministry, works and housing, health, defense. When you touch it, you touch Ashanti region. Now, Dr. Bawumia percent in numbers in 2028 and drop pa. One kofa kokofuni so ombabe contest koka. Omusa chama would be brow brilliance and the third time or win. Okota money making machine. Bullion van be see park no so. Voice on the BT koka. Ne ato aba wie makwa press conference. Say mode chama kokofu. No kwa bantman no esi ni say. Okwa moto abati ano. Also pe general secretary bi adi. Mo man kwai. Munko kase yedne ba Ashanti region na meti ase baabi me yura ho we ne se omse chama kokofu e ba betoa wuntumi ene pass wuntumi ne pa be no ye na Ashanti mantema ene pa be chama wuntumi ne pa be no na Ashanti region sa wuntumi be ma Ashanti region votes from 70% eba 64% aye ne pa wuntumi nti Ashanti region MPP new office ayanepa won to me at the Ashanti regional chairman's office no atwitwi from the first time a sitting chairman of a political party in Ashanti region ya twa boss local BNI court where yanepa ayameto aso in Ashanti region na national hold them I will meet won to me there now kwaka na omodo omonsa ho kan no ana pese omoti asese na Dr. Bawumia ade na ebo wachi na so de ebo yira nim so na wo de ho be wura an internal elections so ene waje flag no de party for share nim se wo betima win your power in 2028 ade akufado year 2007 2018 na wo ye bi no mintimi no wanya adwuma anam nkotu we ene ukwa adwuma wa beja south secretary so ye adwuma edema kende Japan entino yan konkotu nam se ewurade nyankopon kwatani a okwa yi ose me kwame nchia o kwaro wo nchia na obi ato be chia dia mu ye 2028 dia mu ye 2028 o na Dr. Bomi officer omo buawa mo mo nya yodum na akọ 2020 ese ba ko ye 38.2 ubenya 28.2 na se MPP ye be mo aben MPP ho a uni MPP fo ho busa de omo de adubu ahe na Addo na wo ye wo say wo ifin sabi onye nyame Rollins mo ko me fa o man e tran so soja bible so o ka obi nka bi o ma jaga na okọ na nya wo democracy na etimi ka bi kire wo enti anamo Dr. Bomi atunu clear ni chese wono on pay unity now on pay unity so you cannot win power without unity and ye etimi we support Ken we ye support Brian and ye kwa mo candidates you go and give them candidate. By 2028, we will also give you a showdown. Abusha for me did the shy will assist a share out from. Meno Kase Honorable Ken only the biggest coal store in Africa, the most advanced and sophisticated steel plant in West Africa is being owned by a Ghanaian person. That is Honorable Ken Kwame Kumpo Japan. We acquired 30,000 acres of land at Wadakru and another 30,000 of land. Another one so at Addo. And our 156,000 acres of land and so wajin and so was again or babe cherry tomato in the account. And now call Central Region or Czech so yeah babe see the largest pharmaceutical industry in West Africa. And no maku numa yem producing in West Africa in Africa no yeah babe produce Ghana yet being owned and also partnership by Honorable Ken Kwame Akumpeko Japan. Now, Honorable Ken said, Oba Abe started with 16 factories across all the 16 regions. Mantem Biabenya, one factory. Now, Tima Boa Edia Pushi, Ghana, Mabuna, Omunia Jumaya, Dodona Jumaya. Who ye Ghana near, Didier Ghana, with a certain leader like in the Japan, a bay, and to that no bompires and Yanku point. Ye persec in the Japan by Ghana Mampini, a quanya can the Japan by first by Ghana Mampini and show.
Independent na Obia so many da. Asante so. Yes, na Obia ni da. Asante so. Bibi muka say omufri asante by force. Yes,
Dr. Baumia, yeah, co campaign, me catch him say, Bonnie be a cost for MPP Mubiano. Sa bronye dike de Japan, koka dike de Japan tem, Baumia. Na frag barra ninti, and our day near Ekatakata, and Yamosimeboa. Oko ni chrome, Echo use ni chrome kasa ek say. Steka ayadanku or rabbit. Now Dr. Baumian Kwana 2023 when you're 61%, not 2026 when you're 56% was say 56 no as such as 61. Dr. Baumian Kwana dollar sa oko fano 1 city at the cost 4 cities our bon. Now for the 4 city at the cost 17 cities ya o ya de ya to a bear black bear also can party boom. One nam and now casting insinuations against opponents. At this point, here now Dr. Baumia on your politician obegu MPP. Say Dr. Baumia your politician pa. Mo sorry ana we ya kwacha Baumia kan the Japan ko kan Jimmy phone ti say box iron we and one nam ho welcome people into Dr. Baumia house. Koka timi didi kan the Japan atem. Na kan the Japan enko Baumia fie. Na koka we na me welcome no. Say Dr. Baumia so do MPP. One person kama board so pen ba bi ntina. Say, Chairman Kokofu, Baba Toa, won't to me any pass, won't win the Pabano and a sentiment, and the Papa, Chama won't win the Pabano and a sentiment.
Obi a waka enti se de ma Baumia na so obi sia obi a mo ha bia no 1998 say e repeat wo mo a omo to aba 1996 e bia na mo amoto 2003 2023 yes I repeat mo se mo beto aba 2026 e bia I said, and I repeat you. Until the master said, aye bawuyanti and the repeating Sabi a 40 near repeating one because say you do na mame baako na papa baako no mua na say adibie ba baako no betra first tafo mo ba biase aye Isaac ne Rebecca ana mo wo ye emramu no ene bibia mu no na Isaac say opese Esau ene ni na de ana na yire eso say opese Jacob ni na de aso so e ba ye no ba bia na o say ato no e wa na kokoto de tell say ya fa ko ma bo ti suni ya de ma obi a o ka ho enti se de ma ba o mia na so obi si asose bibi de aba ba o mia na ya de
tactical play.
Now we are passing to Shadima. I have power linty and the Shansa. I have power linty and Amaka. Santina, Sunday police station for the car one, not me to be here. But we are so sweet. And I am Amaka. Mobile to a baby. May I say my former executives. Cafes and made by former executives. Coming here because Kaufi not good. But I never oriented. Former executives, will be able to promote, will be able to it is enough. Say, I go about bonus and Osaka, and young Yamity. And young Yamity. If you say, Abano, Uber to be Abano, it's any of them. Maybe because I never talk for no matter and Yamamu and Yasha. Then you said, Appiah see yellow. None that presidential money see. They see yellow. And a Cassa and a man see. The money see yellow. It's like a parliamentary prime minister. I'm not sure. And in your room for kind of say, almost 2 years can but 2 years can almost something. And in the people catch them say, so we move the dear on quiet. Atisa, what's that? I am a friend. Eti, I am one. Eti, do baby, but no one can pay back. No shoe. Eti, Appiah was our canyon here. What did you have? I don't know about Miawa. Eti, one more prayer, what I said. Bawumia, and I'm the army. No.